You have your camera on.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11. It's given us some great racing action for our first three races of the season. But tonight, we head to Texas, a 1.5 mile track that is bound to give us some entertaining finishes. And we're excited to give you all the coverage here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Race number 4, it's your Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150. Go to all of your music listening stations and look up Cody Glenn Cox's newest song, Beer Talkin' Today. As our 4th race of the season, we're excited to see who will find themselves in the victory lane, as so far we've had 3 different pole setters, 3 different winners. Can we continue the streak? We'll have to see, as again, it's all here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me here tonight is Richard Wolsifer. And Richard, it's going to be an exciting one here this evening. Usually it's when the race starts, but for the first time this season, we got some knockout qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see with this knockout qualifying, to see who can stick around and who can get the fastest lap. You don't want to be that 44th driver. You don't want to be the one that doesn't get a qualifying lap in either, because that will almost seal your fate and not making the start tonight and packing up and heading home early.
As coming into qualifying, as it will be starting here in the next 2 minutes, the way that the ruling is, it is now, after running our first 3 races, no longer is it based off of last season's point standings. It's based off this current point standings. Top 30 in points automatically are into the race. And also, if you're past champion, you're into the race. So with currently, we'll have 31 drivers locked in. Zach Hall, not inside of the top 30 in points after his rough start this season. He gets a provisional in for being a past champion. So we have 12 spots, to be grabbed. And we will see, as we only have 44 drivers registered in for tonight's race. That means 1 driver will not be racing this evening here at Texas. Exciting racing action this track has given us in the past. Looking at last season, we saw Drew Jua get into victory lane. The last 2 seasons behind that, we got to see Vincent Sora, Zach Hall have their collisions against one another. It's a track that's known for late race passes, late race incidences, and we'll see if it all comes together here this evening. But Richard, Texas is a track for drivers. They always like to have the debate. It's the legacy, it's the old configuration, it's the current configuration on which one they prefer, but we're running the current one, and this one's slightly tricky at moments.
Yeah, a little bit tricky, not your typical 1.5 miles like we see at Charlotte and Atlanta, or the older Atlanta that is, but you're going to have a lot different entrance in 1 and 2. It's a lot wider of a turn, but the banking isn't as high, so it's a different way they have to attack both turn 1 and 2, and then a different way they have to attack turn 3 and 4. So it's still your typical 1.5 mile intermediate track, but when you have different turn strategies on either side, it makes for some interesting passes and some wild side-by-side racing.
It certainly does. Those different bankings that we're dealing with, turns 1 and 2, 20 degrees of banking, 3 and 4, 24 degrees of banking, and actually there's slight banking on the straightaways at 5 degrees that these drivers deal with, so they're always going to be slightly banked as they rocket around this course. It's going to be a fun one, and we are about to be starting qualifying. Who's going to be up front? Our current pole sitters this season, back at the Atlanta Super Speedway course to start the season off, we got to see Drew Jua grab a pole there. Then Rockingham for race number 2. It was Seth Knoll who grabbed the pole. And last week, probably the biggest surprise, Brian McCann grabbed the pole as the 8 machine was trying to resurge himself up front as a contender to watch out for. But surprise, surprise, it was actually John Forbes that won last week as he came off of an end-of-the-line penalty. He had to surge his way forward and really proved on some quick pace by the 1. We'll see if he continues on that pace as we enter into qualifying. 44 drivers enter, but only 43 can race here tonight as drivers wait to take off and go. Tonight, everyone's got 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap, but only 2 laps to do so. You touch the wall, you touch the grass, you lose control and go out of control, your lap will be invalidated. So everyone knows they need to hit a picture-perfect lap if you want to be in. We'll be checking on who gets the pole, who's the last drivers out, and it's going to be a fun one. And as we start things off, it's Thomas Green, that 31 freaky fast machine, wanting to be quick here, as he's one of those drivers that's already locked in with how well he's been running so far this season. He's part of the 31 that will automatically make the race, but let's see what the pace and the tone's going to be set as the 31 starts lap number 1.
Yeah, 31 has really had a really good start to this season. Kind of a newcomer coming in, rocking the number 31 Freaky Fast Machine. A beautiful looking car out on that track. And currently taking his first green flag lap around here. Going to hit the bottom lane in 1 and 2. And you got that long, nice backstretch run for him to go around. Going to take the a little bit more banked 3 and 4 on the outside. Going to try to get that momentum. See if he can't get the faster speed down the front stretch, maybe make that second lap a little faster than his first.
Trying to find that speed as the 31 crosses the line. Going to see a couple of different drivers start their first lap. Who's willing to put the fast time down? It's going to be the 31 for a quick moment, as the 16 of Joshua Kanata now going to be the pole time with the first lap of just the first couple of drivers. Colin Carroll going to be the top driver, as I've seen these drivers bouncing up and down. Usually it's the second lap where you find the most speed. What is that decision? Do you want to save your tires for that second lap, or do you want to go full bore and save maybe a little bit? Warm up those tires so that second lap has got all the heat in it. Cross the line, Thomas Green, he will take the pole time currently, as that is a 30.355 time, as Vincent Sora comes up shy behind him with a 30.396. It's Thomas Green, the number everyone's fighting for.
Yeah, Thomas Green able to top the board in front of Vincent Sora. That has got to be a great feeling, but Tanner Bethea able to take that right away from him as he takes the pole, with Nico Garcia taking second place in the number 71 machine, and Gavin Rogers to the top of the board currently.
Gavin Rogers, known for getting the pole time all throughout his first 2 seasons of running in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Yet to get a pole so far this season. Could this run be it? The only driver to get in the 30.2 second time. Can anyone else get close? Colby DiCarlo going to be coming up shy as he's up to second place and looking down at the bubble spot. Who are drivers we're watching out for that could be missing out on this race? It looks like Brad Delph going to be one of those first drivers that I'm nervous about. He put down a 30.791. He is currently the slowest driver and could be missing out on tonight's race. Here's Brian Noel. Will the 00 find some sneaky speed? Well, it looks like he's already finished up his qualifying time, on that. As Ryan Kelly, he'll move up to 4th after finishing up his 2 lap.
And we're going to ride along now with another driver who has to qualify into today's race. That is Nicholas Renner. He's kind of made a few starts here, nothing. He's shown some really good speed, but he's always getting caught up into some situations. But let's see what he can do as he spins. Ow! Oh, that will invalidate that lap. I think he might have gotten it, but that is not what you want to see when you're trying to qualify into this race.
No, he's looking for all the pace that he could in the 74. He is 16th on the board, so not going to be pole time, but good enough to be making the featured race. Still looking at other drivers who can try to stay above the cut line. Brad Delph, again, is still that driver, currently finishing up his 2 laps as the slowest time. He runs in 32nd position. There's a few others that are still putting in their laps that need to qualify, and that's going to be the curious thing. Of the drivers that have yet to qualify, who's willing to risk it all and go for the pole time? Well, Brian McCann wants to double down. Got the pole last week, and he might get it this go around with a 30.256, 1/100th of a second faster than Gavin Rogers.
Wow, Brian McCann coming in and being the top driver again for qualifying. He is here to show he has brought some speed for season 11 here in the VRS Cup Series. And Larry Yingling will move up into the 3rd position to start on the inside of 2nd row as well. So some great speed coming in from Brian McCann. It's really impressive to see. Glad to see him showing some speed, being up there, starting in the front, and maintaining it throughout the races as well as what he's been doing as well.
And we got some complications. We got about 5 drivers that are not going to be putting in a time, 5 or 6 drivers that are not putting a time in. So it's going to be based off of iRating on who's in or out. That is going to be a test. It looks like Brad Delph, who is on the cut line, he will be saved because he put a time in. Now we wait for the results of who will be knocked out based off of qualifying, who got a invalidated lap time or not. We'll wait for admins to make that decision, but that is a gutsy call by those 8 drivers not to qualify and put their fates up to their iRating on if they had done enough official races as we now go into our warm-up period where we get to look at our schedule a little bit more. But right before we go looking at our point standings, I mean, Richard, that is a weird call by some of those drivers, I think, not realizing the situation we're in.
Yeah, and it's something you don't want to put yourself into either. Like if you have a chance to get into the race under your own skill, your own choice, you need to go out and do that. And being safe on qualifying, it sounds goofy at times, but I mean, especially now when you have to get that lap down. We saw it, Nick Renner, he was trying to put laps down, and he just got loose coming out of turn 4 down to the dog leg, and it invalidated his lap, whether it went off track or even hit the wall. So unfortunate to see. You don't want to see any drivers go home, but when you have a lot of drivers wanting to race at the same time, it's just the unfortunate news that you got to have when you only have 43 drivers to be able to start.
And looking at where iRacing is grading drivers, I believe it might be the 10 of Ryan Ferraro that will be missing out on tonight's race, as we're going to pull up our point standings and see how the season's been so far. But again, we'll wait on official confirmation by the admins on who's in or out. But after 3 races of the season being done, it's currently Ryan Kelly top of the board as he has got his win so far back at Rockingham. Thought he was going to double down at Dover last week. Didn't happen. That went to John 4. So Vincent Sora second, third is Gavin Rogers. And then we move all the way over to the right side. Cody Reed, current cutoff driver of those that are trying to make the chase. Who can get there? I mean, make it to the playoffs as top 16 make it in. And Cody Reed's there, but he's got some drivers that have been looking very quick. Talking about Ross Tatum, he's been looking very fast recently. If he can continue on that momentum, that 21 could be a threat to watch out for. Monazzi Major had a great debut showing last week. And Thomas Green, we know that 31's got pace. It's just getting out of trouble that's going to help him. As we move from our point standings, we're going to take a closer look at our schedule so far this season. The schedule, we're going to be missing out on the bottom 2 because of how many races we're running. We're going to show the first 18 races, but we got today at Texas. Next week, we head to Portland, and that's going to be a new road course that we have yet to see. One of the newest ports that have been put into iRacing, and for a lot of these drivers, their first test and skill at Portland. And for myself, I think it's going to be one of the first times I've watched drivers race at Portland on iRacing, so you don't want to miss next week. Then after Portland, we'll have a week off, as that's the iRacing week 13, and we'll have Darlington, Las Vegas, and Bristol, the next upcoming races. Those are a lot of tracks that, again, we've talked about it, these first 4 or 5 testing the skills, but it gets even tougher after that. As we're going to take a closer look at how our pick'ems are going to be. Who are drivers we feel like could be threats, drivers to watch out for? We made these picks during the practice before qualifying, so maybe it changes up our decisions after the fact, but we're going to stick with our picks that we made. And I'm going to go with the driver we haven't seen for a while that has shown quick pace here in the past. I'm going with 81 of Steven Stimpian. He decided not to qualify. We'll see where he places himself here late, but a driver who has looked quick and going to try to get things back rolling. And I'm curious on how this 81, after missing a couple of weeks, will run with a full 43 field. But Richard, who do you have as your pick'em as the driver here tonight?
He got 3rd place last week at Dover, and he was really beating himself over about it because he knew he had the speed to do it, and I think he could do it today as well. I'm going to pick Gavin Rogers again. He's really fast these intermediate tracks. He's gotten a lot better ever since he's joined the the VRS Cup Series as well. He's gotten into the saving tires a lot better, and he's always a force to be reckoned with in every single race. So I think Gavin tonight can get it done here in Texas.
Then our third member of our crew running productions in the background, we got Robert Moyer Jr. with us, and he's picking that Nightmare Fuel machine, the 31 of Thomas Green, the Freaky Fast machine. How fast can a 31 be here tonight? We've seen him be quick at mile and a half on Monday nights when we call the ISRC Truck Series. Can he bring that speed here on Wednesdays? We'll have to find out as warm-ups is closing in. We also want to say thank you again to today's race sponsor, Cody Glenn Cox, and his newest song that just came out, Beer Talkin'. Go check it out on all music platforms. As today's race, we're excited to be seeing new sponsors coming in. We also want to say thank you to the sponsors that have been with us throughout this season, that being the Virtual Racing School, otherwise known as VRS, for being the title sponsor of the series. We also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and our camera providers here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Whiplash Sim Cams. We'll talk about all the amazing sponsors more throughout the race as warm-up is closing up. It's about to be race time. Thank you so much to all those that are joining with us on tonight's race here, race number 4 of the season. Who are you rooting for? Who do you think is going to be the driver to watch out for? We'll try to talk about them as much as possible. Here's our pre-race for tonight's running. We got ourselves a 1.5-mile course here at Texas. 4 corners. We are in sim at 2 p.m., but it's going to be that track temp, that air temp. How will that fluctuate throughout tonight's race? That track temp is warm at 118 degrees Fahrenheit, air temp at 83, but I'm curious on how the wind could also fluctuate as well throughout tonight's race. Here's your starting grid for tonight's running. Top of the board, front row, going to be the 8 of Brian McCann, grabbing his 2nd pole of the season. Congratulations to that 8 machine. Kevin Rogers going to be in 2nd with Larry Yingling in 3rd. Colby DiCarlo going to be in that 4th place position for the 22. Tanner Bethea going to be in 5th. Great to see both of those rookies qualifying well. Shane Terrian will be in 6th. 7th, we find the 3 of Ryan Kelly. Shane Terrian's teammate, that's going to be Nico Garcia, who's going to have a great qualifying run for the 71. In 9th, we find the 00 of Brian Noel, and finishing out our top 10 is going to be Robert's pick, the 31 of Thomas Green.
Starting in 11th place will be the number 20 machine of David Medina Sr. and Cedric Hunter in the Hello Kitty number 13th will be starting just outside him in the 12th position. 13th is Drew Jua back in the number 77, and Christopher Norris having a great qualifying run starting in 14th in the number 38 machine. Vincent Sora starting back in the 15th position, and 16th on his outside, Justin Malarkey. Jarrett Talmadge, number 27, starting back in 17th with Ollie Fonseca to his outside, starting in 18th. Pete Tart, the number 40 machine, starting 19th, and 20 will be Cole Sachette in the 29.
Then going to be seeing ourselves a driver in that 20. Going to be seeing the driver, excuse me, I was getting all mixed up. In 21st is going to be Ken Campbell in the 15. Nick Crawford going to be in that 22nd position for the 74. GT Rosari in 23rd. Joshua Kanata going to be starting in the middle of the pack in 24th position with Ryan Kelly in 25th. Cody Reed, that cutoff driver in the points, 16th in points. He needs a good running. He'll start 26th. Zach Hall, going to be 2 seasons ago champion at 32. Going to be starting in 27th position with Chris Stitz in 28th. 29th, we find the season 1 champion of Brian P. Johnson. And then the rookie number 4, Colin Carroll. Watch out for this 4 to march his way through the field. Then we're going to be finding ourselves in 31st position. We find Ross Tatum in the 21. Minazzi Major in 32nd position with going to be Christopher Wade in 33rd. 34th, we find the 50 machine of Samuel Garcia. Ben Kinney in 35th is the 98 machine. Brad Delph in 36th. 37th is the 2 of Joshua Corner with John Forbes Jr. Winner from last week. He'll start deep in the field in 38th. 39th is Douglas Newbegin. It's going to be Bladen Edwards, Steven Stimpian, Martin Morales, as well as going to be Ryan Ferraro and Nicholas Renner. Going to be those 44 drivers taking off here tonight. Only 43, though, can technically take off and go this evening. We're still waiting on who will be officially that driver that makes it moving forward. I believe sitting in pit road is still about 3 drivers confused on where they need to be. That's going to be Bladen Edwards, Steven Stimpian, and Ryan Ferraro yet to leave pit road, as no one has been given confirmation on who is out of this race. Nicholas Renner, Mark Morales will be racing in. They are on track, and it's going to be Brian McCann up front into the restart zone as your Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150 is underway. We were expecting 43 drivers to take the green, only 41 able to do so, as we're back to green flag action as it continues to be these drivers take off and go. So far off the exit of turn number 2, everyone's clear. Richard, it is a clean start up front for the 8 machine.
A clean start indeed for the 8 as he takes and keeps that lead going. Great run by him and a great start. And these drivers are fanning out across this massive track of Texas Motor Speedway. But we get around lap 1, nice and clean. Drivers doing a great job to start this race off.
Our first driver going to be really pressing up front. Larry Yingling wants to get that lead position, recognizing how clean air can be so critical here tonight. We talked about that a lot last week at Dover. Tire wear. You want to protect your tires as much as possible, but here tonight, I think the opportunity to make passes, that's going to be the tough portion. These restarts, really the opportune moments to make a lot of big passes. But Richard, once we get clean and green and everyone's spacing out, it just seems like in Texas, it's almost impossible to make passes after these first 10 to 15 laps are over.
Yeah, it does get a little difficult to start making passes because everybody starts getting on the same tire wear, same tire strategy. It's got to be the one that doesn't wear your tires out the most. Also, utilizing that aero blocking, basically. You can make other people tight by just driving in front of them, taking their line away. So when you're on the tires that are wearing about the same, you got to start looking, different lines that you could possibly take to get around someone a little easier and not have to worry about that dirty air.
One driver you might be seeing that's not inside of the top 10 was given an EOL as we were leaving the pit road. Now, I didn't think that anyone got a penalty, but this might have been an asked EOL. Thomas Green sent to the end of the line. That 31's up already the 35th position. But he's got a lot of work to get moving forward. He's going to be trying to tag along with John Forbes Jr. as they move forward. Also, Douglas Newbigging. And you already see those three drivers in line trying to march their way forward, getting by the new colors of the Ford machine. Colin Carroll switching things up here tonight. Instead of that very nice blue machine, he's now going to be switching it to the military colors. Here's our season 9 champion, Zach Hall, trying to make his way forward in the middle of the field. This is the current battle for 23rd position.
Yeah, 23rd, a very kind of a common thing to see Zach Hall of late. He's really been struggling trying to get up through these fields because every time he does, he always gets involved in something. But we know he's got the speed. Right now, it looks like he's just kind of being patient, not trying to push anything, be aggressive.
Oh, trouble ahead of him. That's going to be Cole Sacchetti. Big slide off the nose of the 16 of Joshua Kanata. Huge save for himself, but those tires are worn. They're going to be stacking up. They're still piling into one another. Sacchetti into the outside wall, back across. Cody Reed going to be involved, and somehow it's only one driver spun around.
That was a very long wreck. I mean, Sacchetti was having an issue controlling that car after he got a little loose off the nose of the number 16 of Joshua Kanata. And then he was just fighting the car from that point on, just trying to keep it straight, trying to keep it under control. But he was losing a lot of ground. And then just coming out of the turn, got loose, could not get control of the car, and just gathered up another couple cars as well.
It was just a bizarre moment. Like you said, it started on the entry of turn 1. Then it was just catch, hold on. And ultimately, it's Cody Reed who had to come to a complete halt after his contact. And luckily for Cody, no contact to the outside wall, just a big slide for himself. But it all came together when drivers were trying to duck low to avoid that 29 machine. But going to be the case. As you can see here for Cody, he's watching all the action ahead of him. Driver of the 29 gets spun off the nose, drifting away. There's no yellow flag, so you're just still trying to go full force, getting all these positions that look like scraps that you can take, and then it all goes wrong in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and I mean, when you don't see the yellow flag, like you said, you're just trying to get as many positions as you possibly can because track position, though tires can be a big deal here, track position is still really important. So if you can get those extra positions while you're still waiting for that caution to come out, I mean, do what you can while being safe as well because you don't want to ARCA brake someone. That's never a good thing on anybody's part. But yeah, Cody Reed keeps it off the other cars, keeps it off the wall. That car is going to be perfectly fine. Just a little bit of warmed up tires. He might come in and get some tires and go back out there. But overall, not a terrible run for Cody Reed. I think the Sacchetti might have a little bit more damage in him.
Little bit of a slide and open for the best. In chat, Zach Hall, before we went racing, said tonight is our luck. Tonight our luck changes, I believe. I mean, you're always believing that your luck's gonna change. Right there, I think he found some luck not being involved with that wreck, but having the wreck happen around him. Certainly a scare as drivers making the decisions. Do you want to come into pit road or not to get a splash? For some others, not going to be the case, as we are just 8 laps in. You're not expecting drivers to come in and take fuel and tires, but some do come in and check out their vehicles. That will be the 91 of Martin Morales. Also going to be Justin Malarkey. Cody Reed getting a fresh set of tires after his big slide. Samuel Garcia also getting some damage repair. And Cole Sacchetti still in pit road getting service done. As we are still in our first stage, first 35 laps of tonight's race will be our stage. Only the top 10 get those bonus points, and bonus points can be so crucial. It can be the reason why you're in or out of the playoffs, but with the stage being so early, Richard, I'm always curious on how different leagues like to throw out the stages. I know for you racing on Tuesday nights with the BRB Racing League, you guys have two stage breaks you can get points at. I know other leagues where they like to have the stage at the halfway zone. We have the WSSR where it's early. Is there kind of a preferred zone for drivers, or is it just you get what you get from whatever league you're in?
I honestly think it's just to get what you get. Some drivers kind of look for, leagues that don't have stages or do have stages. I mean, here it's very unique. They only have one stage caution. It gives a very long second part of the race, which is very, very unique, I think. I know my race on Tuesdays, we have two stage breaks, and it kind of gives a little bit more of a known. But like, one thing I know for me, I would probably never race in a league that has it directly in the middle, because it doesn't really change strategy up very well. It's not really much of a wrench in people's plans. It's just kind of like literally two races at the exact same distance. So, I mean, I like both ways, the one stage and the two stage. It just depends on how you like racing and what your plans are and your strategy is to try to win this race.
It's always unique to see how different leagues throw it out, but for WSSR, we've had an era without stages. We've had eras with stages a little bit later. Now they're in the sooner stage, as we've got ourselves first stage ends at the end of lap 35, unless there's a caution between 30 and 35, as green flag is back out in the air. Brian McCann, Gavin Rogers going to be those front two, and Rogers taking full advantage on the fact that he was right behind our leader, already up to second, and Larry Yingling caught sleeping. He'll fall from second now down to fourth place as they exit at turn number 2.
Jackson out of 2. Gavin Rogers, a great move to take back that second place where he started, and he's going to look to take the lead from Brian McCann as he goes low, and he might be able to keep the lead. He does. He clears Brian McCann as they head to the start-finish line to finish this lap after the restart.
Finish lap number 9, start of lap 10, and Gavin Rogers is in the top spot, but for how long? Ryan Kelly looks to be the next driver in line to try to pressure our leader. You're also seeing hard racing side by side. It's Vincent Sora, the two-time WSSR champion, racing with Tanner Bethea, who continues to put the pressure side by side, and seeing these new drivers affiliated with Lucky Ducks. It's fun. You're seeing the different styles. Some drivers that are entering in, zero fear on who they're racing around. Others taking a little bit more of a calm approach, trying to show a little bit more respect around. As caution in the back, and it's a pretty nasty one. Multiple drivers involved, heading into the grass are a few, and a big caution here early on in this first stage. Getting a little bit ugly. 2 cautions already in the first 12 laps.
That was another wreck that kind of looked really long. A couple of drivers got into each other in the middle of turn 3 and 4, and then it just kind of evolved into, kind of a little bit of chaos. Everyone just trying to get their car under control, get the grip back underneath, but this hot track condition tonight is really proven to be an issue with these cars being stable, because once you get loose, it's like you can't gather that car back up because those tires get really hot and they get really slick.
Looks to be around the 41 of Ryan gonna be, right here, Ryan, gonna be Ryan Rochelle, Kyle Rochelle. Couldn't get that out, with Ken Campbell as well, and into one another, and then everyone just spacing around, trying to avoid the wreck the best that they can. A little bit nerve-wracking for a moment, but here's another look at it. I mean, Richard, all these drivers fighting for position, and big block by the 15 on the 41 as they try to force the issue into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was a very big block going into turn 3, and 41 it just looks like he lost a little bit of his control of his car and turned right up into Ken Campbell. And then you just see right there, Ken just trying to gather the car back up, was a lot slower than everybody behind him, and it's just, you cause a traffic jam in a parking lot almost, and everyone just kind of driving at full speed and just gets caught up in just a whole bunch of bumpers into bumpers, and that's what we've got the spins here.
Bunch of drivers getting involved with that one, but luckily not enough drivers getting required damage. Looks like little bumps here and there, a few seconds of optional damage you have to deal with, but we're going to see a few. Try to check up and see how bad the damage is looking, as it's going to be about from 26th on back, take the back 30th on back. All the drivers going to be coming into pit road, starting off with Ken Campbell as well as Cole Sketty, and just check out how bad is the damage. Maybe think about getting tires if you want to make a push for stage points, as drivers were given 5 total sets to work with. 4 sets are in pit road. You start with 1 set, and drivers are, with 2 quick cautions coming out, I'm curious if maybe we will see drivers go with that hard, aggressive push and test on are tires even worth grabbing this early on?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. This is the time to test it out, though, here in the first stage, because, yeah, you might miss out on stage points, but you get a lot more points the further up you are with a better strategy at the end of the race. So it's a great time to test strategies, see what tires can do, if newer tires are going to be that much of a difference. But I mean, it's gonna be a fun race to watch to see who is going to utilize the tires and who's going to burn them down just to get back up to the front.
And if you want to talk about testing things out, why not test out some new music? As we have our today's sponsor, the Cody Glenn Cox newest song, as it is the Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150. Beer Talkin is going to be Cody Glenn Cox's newest song to come out. This race is presented by that singer-songwriter of Cody Glenn Cox, who was born and raised in Southeast Oklahoma. He is a rising star in the country music world. Go check out his most recent project to be released, Beer Talkin. It's out now on all music streaming platforms. It's that fun summer song that you're wanting to fill up with some upbeat, cheery lyrics and a melody that will just capture your carefree and joyful spirit of the summer. Cody has an opportunity to open up with some iconic country music artists like going to be Wade Johnson, as well as Walker Montgomery and the Joe Stem Band. It's currently open. He is currently opening up with Randy Travis and his More to Life tour across the U.S. Go check out the incredible music today of the Cody Glenn Cox music. Thank you for Cody for sponsoring today's race. It is awesome to hear. I was listening to it earlier today. It's a fun little jam that can catch your ears very quickly. Again, go check out and listen to Beer Talkin' later on after this race. As the drivers are stacked up, we're about to go green flag racing. 15 laps have been completed so far of 150. Still a lot of racing to go, but it's been the swapping of our top four on where they want to be placed. Ryan Kelly's moved up 5 positions early on, but it's that driver on the outside. Can they hold that position, or will you lose spots quickly? Into the restart zone goes Gavin Rogers as we are green once again for the Cody Glenn Cox's Beer Talkin 150. It's a 75 good run, but it's side by side for second place down in turn number 1.
A great launch for Gavin Rogers to take that lead right back after that restart. The only problem he's going to have to worry about is maybe the run that Ryan Kelly's going to have on that outside with the drafting help as well. That outside line didn't get much of a good start. There was a few cars that were kind of pushing each other, trying to get each other to start a little sooner, it seemed, but Gavin Rogers, great control over that restart, and the drivers are able to complete another lap, green flag, and keeping it clean.
Keeping it clean for now. Some of the bigger movers so far inside of our top 10. It's going to be the 51 of Vincent Sora, who's riding on the inside, trying to catch up to the pink machines. That's going to be seen. The Hello Kitty 13, Cedric Hunter, going to be forced 3 wide for a quick moment. Larry Yingling on the outside groove as they are going side by side all around up front. The only driver I think that's in a comfortable position might be Gavin Rogers, who leads this thing. Everyone else, they're fighting and clawing for every position at this moment. As you're seeing Tanner Bethea falling back. Other drivers that have fallen back quickly. It's going to be David Medina Sr. He's lost 7 positions as everyone around him were drivers that started in the back and have been clawing their way forward inside of the top 20. You're seeing here the one machine, John Force, big slashing move to the inside. Going to be Douglas Newbigging as he saw an opportunity to get by the 82. That's going to be Simonazzi Major backing out quickly. Thomas Green, who took the early EOL, he currently is in a spot where he's fighting forward as well. And I mean, this is just chaos all around the track. Drivers moving forwards, those falling back. And I got to say, Richard, it looks like it's that always changing balance of drivers that are saving and those that are in attack mode going on right now.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see, you know, when these drivers decide to kind of flip their strategy, who's in the attack mode currently and who is the under the saving strategy. I mean, honestly, I think saving your tires is probably going to be the biggest benefit here. Even though right now we still got, I think, 15 laps left. So this could be go time. It's time to kick these cars into overdrive and get up to that top 10 if your goal is to get some stage points.
Drivers seeing opportunities to move forward because of that tire saving strategy, even with our 2 cautions we've had so far. Here's the 9 machine of Shane Terrian, currently runs 10th at this time. He sees Drew Jula right in front of him at that 77. Tiltify machine. Where will you go for the 9? And it looks like it's just going to be following in suit. Other drivers of note, Cody Reed in 22nd position. He's the first driver who took 4 tires under this previous caution. And we'll keep an eye out on how well the 25 can advance his way forward with not a lot of wear and tear on these 3 flag set tires that the field has ran so far. But up front, everyone just in line as they try to make it to the end of this stage.
Yeah, it looks like they're just kind of keeping it calm, keeping it in line, not trying to challenge anybody for position really in the top 10, but times are starting to slow down. I can't tell if that's driver choice or if it's tire wear, and that's only 20 laps in, so this second part of the race, the final stage, that's going to be really interesting to see what the drivers do and can tell what the tire wear is going to be like for the later run.
Seeing our winner from last week and last season's champion, John Forbes Jr., marching his way forward, trying to get by Pete Tart in the 40 machine. That W machine trying to run high on the outside, but Forbes started 38th. Also, Douglas Newbegin starting all the way back in 39th, and they have just been a tandem, staying on the inside groove and taking positions when drivers run the high side, which it seems like it's just a misjudgment of turn 1 that just blossoms into an opportunity for drivers to go for a big pass.
Yeah, I mean, huge pass trying to get the momentum or whatnot. These guys are in there side by side. You're going to be wearing out those tires a lot more than those that are single file, so they don't want to stay side by side very long. I mean, the inside line might get the quickest way around the track, the shortest way around the track, but typically that outside line, once they get out of the turn, they're going to get a huge run. As the 31, huge run on the backstretch going into turn 3, went from the wall to the inside lane of the number 7 of Douglas Newbegin, gets a little bobble there on the inside and loses all that ground that he gained.
I thought we were going to see a deja vu from our first caution of the day of just a driver hitting the apron, as that's going to be a clean save and run for Thomas Green, but lots of time for himself, as now he'll see the pressure of Cody Reed as well as see Dave Medina right behind this 31. Cody Reed, again, fresh tires, only able to move up to 22nd position. Tires aren't extremely fresh, but better than most, as oh no, trouble gonna be for the 1 machine as well as others. The grouping we were just following, it's gonna be Brian P. Johnson spun around as drivers just checked up through 3 and 4.
Douglas Newbegin also stopped on the front stretch facing the wall. That's another driver involved in this, and it's just cars getting into quarter panels is what started this. The 22 got kind of tapped in the left rear quarter panel. There is what started this whole chain of events.
Side-by-side racing between Christopher Norris and that 22 of Colby DiCarlo just came together through the center of 3 and 4, and everyone else behind them were the ones that really took the brunt of this all. As you're going to see, riding on board Douglas Newbegin, just trying to stay attached, still trying to follow John Forbes Jr., who's 2 cars ahead of him. And it all just stacks up with the 22 and the 38 getting together here. Everyone trying to slow down, give space, but it's just hard to do so. And it just, everyone accordions into one another, and they just continues to ripple, even in the next pack behind.
Yeah, it looked like the 22 kind of went into the turn just a little bit too hot, pushed up a little bit into Norris, and then just not able to keep the cars straight. Like I said, once these cars get a little loose in these turns, it gets those tires hot, and it's almost impossible to save these cars. They lose a lot of ground, and just keeping that car straight is a challenge for a lot of these drivers, it's seeming. But hopefully not a lot of damage for a lot of those drivers involved, like Brian P. Johnson and Douglas Newbegin. Hopefully they can get out there, get that damage fixed, and get back out on track and challenge again.
Cluster drivers involved in other incidences just trying to get through. We do have one driver that was bounced to the back and out of the session for a quick moment. That's Samuel Garcia, right when the yellow flag came out. Loss of packets, was knocked out of the server, currently 2 laps down. Trying to get back onto the lead lap. Nicholas Renner, another one of those drivers that's hoping to get a lap back, as 76 went an early lap down with early troubles of getting damage repair. Went a lap down, hoping to get at least one, maybe both of those laps back to get back on the lead lap currently. Curious on where these drivers will go as this run continues on. I want to say thank you to all the amazing sponsors that come around and help out with the WSSR. We've had a couple that have stuck around for multiple seasons. It's been great to have Trophy Smack. Has been the trophy provider since season 4. It originally was championship rings, and if you won that season's championship, you got. That went to Vincent Sora for season 4 and 5. Larry Yingling got his own ring season 6. Benjamin Nelson went back to back on trophies. Then Zach Hall got a championship trophy. And then last season, it was John Forbes that got to hoist the WSSR VRS Cup Series Championship. But for this season, who can get there next? Also, want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, who's been another great sponsor to have around with the WSSR the last couple of seasons. New sponsors with us. Again, the new title sponsor being the Virtual Racing School. Go check out the virtualracingschool.com and see all the different products on how they want to make you become the best driver possible on the virtual track and beyond. We also want to say thank you to Sim Precision Prints, 3D printing service to help you get the best sim gear possible. If you're looking for products to help you become more precise on your sim racing, go check out Sim Precision Prints today at simprecisionprints.shop. And also want to say thank you to the new camera provider for the Freaky Fast crew for this season of the WSSR and also ISRC, being Whiplash SimCams, who also is our biggest mover award winner. When we get closer to halfway, we'll see who is that current Whiplash SimCams biggest mover. Up front, it's Gavin Rogers, Brian Noel, going to be the top 2. How will Noel react being in second place? Well, let's find out. Into the restart zone, we are green. Rogers, massive run for himself. The 8 of Brian McCann tries to follow in his tire tracks as he gets by the 00. It's the fight for third on back.
Yeah, it's a 6-lap shootout for this stage, and Gavin Rogers back out at front, commanding lead over everyone, and he's doing a great job on these restarts. But it is a Hornets nest back here with Larry Yingling, Brian Noel, Ryan Kelly, and the 78 machine of Tanner Bethea. These guys are fighting for these stage points and keeping it side by side, giving us one heck of a show to the end of the stage.
Larry Yingling just trying to herd the sheeps behind him as much as possible and trying to gain as many points as the 67 can. As they all stack up 2 by 2, this is when things can get dangerous if not everyone's aware of where your competition lines up. Up front, Gavin Rogers, though, in a very comfortable zone. But with us getting into lap 30, if there is a caution that happens at any point before we finish lap 35, that will also count as our stage ending. So this is where it all ramps up. You need to make these passes as that driver that's in 10th place currently is the 27 of Jared Talmadge.
Laps are going to tick by really quick, but the only driver that's really comfortable right now is Gavin Rogers with that 0.4 of a lead over that of Brian McCann, where everybody else is pretty much on top of each other as they're trying to get to that top 10, as Cedric Hunter sitting in 9th, Jarrett Talmadge in 10th. Shane Terrian on the outside looking in is trying to get around that of Jared Talmadge to get that one last bonus point for the stage, and he does.
As Troha in front, going to be a big slide for the 9 of Shane Terrian, as well as the 13 of Cedric Hunter got squeezed into a 3-wide situation. They both keep it together. Well, that could have been the caution that ended this stage. And the 9, we talk about it every week, the one controller driver here tonight. I think having the joystick might have helped him save that vehicle with how out of shape he was on the front stretch. We stay green, and with the big slide, it now straightens everyone up. We're now seeing Zach Hall, also Cedric Hunter, are going to be the only 2 side by side in our top 15.
He just got into the top 10 and then not able to keep that car fast and straight. Got a little loose involving Cedric Hunter as well. Drops him out of the top 10, but he's got to charge back up there as we ride along with Nico Garcia, who is now the one on the outside looking in from Ali Fonseca. Nico, a rough start to the season for him. We know he's got speed, and he is looking to gather some bonus points here if he can get around Ali Fonseca with 2 laps to go.
Nico Garcia has just been having a troublesome start this season. He just wants to finish a race, and getting stage points would be even more massive for this 71 team. But he's watching a gaggle of cars ahead that are just putting on a show, that being Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora, Tanner Bethea. They have been going back and forth, practically wallbanging one another, and it's the 51 and 78 they have been attached somewhere on one another's vehicles. It's been bumper to bumper. It's been side by side, and Bethea trying to get side by side with that outside wall. Slight contact, losing ground, but we're on the last lap of the stage. It's all Gavin Rogers, but it's all the fight from fourth on back that's given us the show of who can get these final stage bonus points as Ollie Fonseca looks good as he stays ahead of Nico Garcia as Gavin Rogers about to be exiting out of turn number 4.
Gavin Rogers exiting out of turn 4. He will take the stage 1 win. It looks like a Nico Garcia, a little slip up, but they are still side by side back here trying to get to that 10th push. Shea Tarian, a huge surge, and he will get 10th place to finish the stage.
Somehow crossed the line by a 1/1000th of a second. Tarian will take that 1 bonus point. Now, the timing of the yellow, he will not keep that 10th place spot, but at the crossing the line, he was in 10th place. What a late surge. Big wiggle by the 24 and the 9 capitalized. But ultimately, Gavin Rogers going to be the driver who enjoys the big bonus points. 10 bonus points for himself. 9 goes to second. Brian McCann. 8 goes to third, and it continues to dwindle down 1 point per position until we get to 10th place, where it's just 1 bonus point. But man, did it give us entertainment there late. And that's why I talk about this track. It might not be a driver's favorite track, but as a viewer, it gives us spectacular runs all throughout the field. Congratulations to Gavin Rogers on grabbing his stage win here at Texas. And Richard, you talked about him being your pick, your driver to watch out for. He is hunting for their win, and it looks like here tonight he is setting himself up perfectly to be up front.
Yeah, he set himself up really well. I talked to him last week after that 3rd place finish at Dover. And, Gavin and I were really good friends. We raced together in another league as well. And, I was talking to him. I was telling him, I'm the one that kind of brought him, suggested him come to the WSSR VRS Cup Series because the competition here is definitely matched to what Gavin's skill set is. And we know he's a road course ringer here. He's won almost every single one he's been at. And, he's just trying to chase that first oval win. He wants to get it done at a bigger track like this. And so far, he is showing he is here and he's ready to do it.
He certainly is here. And it has been a joy to watch him grow as an oval driver. And I know for the WSSR, they've watched Gavin in all those other leagues. And they were always curious, where would he stack up on Wednesday nights? And he is stacking up to be one of the faster drivers when it comes to qualifying. He's already in the top 5 of that all-time list and trying to climb the winning list as quickly as possible. Drivers leaving pit road. It's a battle on who's going to be in 4th. That will be Gavin Rogers, Brian McCann, Larry Yingling. Drivers do stay out with the late caution with only 6 laps to go before the stage was over. A few drivers took that opportunity to go into pit road. That was Cody Reed, John Force Jr., and Joshua Kanata taking the opportunity. They stay out, and they're going to be on slightly old tires. What a run for ourselves. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more racing action here from Texas for the Cody Glencock Beer Talkin 150. It's been a pleasure to give you the call so far. Stage 1 is done. We'll be back for more Texas racing for the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11 Race 4 here from Texas. We'll be back right after this. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Thank you for being patient with us. We had to go full screen for a quick moment as you are watching the Cody Glencock's Beer Talkin 150. And currently, it's a Cody up front. It's Cody Reed taking the gamble, staying out on the older tires. Same with John Forbes. They stay out. Joshua Kanata was the third driver that took that chance to stay out, but he has already fallen to the clutches of fresh rubber back in 9th position. But the top two trying their best to stay up front. And Richard, this has been looking pretty good for those drivers. They're keeping decent pace with Gavin Rogers catching up, and that's the fastest lap with old tires on the one of John Forbes, and also he just got damage repaired.
Yeah, they did a great job at keeping those tires nice and clean at the end of that stage. They knew they had damage. They came in, went ahead and took the tires and flipped the stage, basically, and this will give them position. That gave them track position. So they did a good job as we got a spin in the back of the field.
And that looks like it's Tanner Bethea, the 78, going to be going around, and he has been having a troublesome fight with his vehicle, and it looks to be through 3 and 4, another bad bump in the center of the corner on the inside that just reaches out and takes another vehicle.
Yeah, it's starting to look like, I don't know if they're hitting the apron, if there's just a small bump there in 3 and 4 that's just upsetting these cars. I mean, oh, no, just got into the 27 there, did not know he was underneath, it looked like. Nope. And yeah, just trying to chase that car around. He kept it out of the field and off other cars, spun it around himself. He's able to keep it off the wall for the most part. Just some tires, call it a day. Not bad for Tanner.
I know some drivers a little upset because they have to check up and are nervous getting ran over, but got to give kudos to the field with everyone right on top of that incident, able to give it enough space, but going for the big dive bomb move. And I mean, it's one of those things where drivers are aggressive. They realize how important track position is, and Bethea's been attacking. Jarrett Talmadge has been getting a little bit more aggressive here of recent. And we got two aggressive drivers that both want space. There's just not enough real estate for neither one of them.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta give some to gain some sometimes, and you know, when you try to defend your spot all the time, you run into situations like that, and that's just two aggressive drivers like you were talking about, trying to race each other. Still early in the race, he didn't get any damage, nobody else involved, so it could have been a lot worse if we've seen in the first stage.
It absolutely could have. Well, we weren't able to talk to our top runners of drivers, winner of the stage being Gavin Rogers, as he's not in Discord currently for us. But hey, let's see if we could try to queue up our current leader of this race, Cody Reed. He took the gamble of being up front, fighting with old tires. Let's see how well he's feeling on this upcoming restart. Cody Reed, 25 machine. It's Sam and Richard up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you're leading this race. You took the gamble of pitting before the stage was over. How are you feeling? How's this car feeling right now?
I feel pretty good. I feel like it was the right call for me, like running around like 25th to 30th. I definitely am gonna lose spots to these guys, just based off speed. I honestly think I'm really good on the long run and really good on old tires. So I feel like I'm about even with the rest of these guys up here, but just based off pure pace, I know these guys are faster than me and they're going to pass me. But I think that move gives me a real shot at like a good like top 10, top 5 finish if everything goes smooth for the rest of this. So I felt like it was the right call to make. So I'm pretty happy with it right now.
Yeah, not a bad call being up there in the front, especially after the little situation you had for the first caution where you spun around. You're able to keep the car off the wall there, but the tires, man, did you have to make a decision to come in to get tires, or you just kind of wait for the stage?
I waited for the stage. I killed my tires sliding. I slid down like half the back straight. But even after that, like I got my damage repaired. It was only like 10 seconds. But I was passing cars left and right after that, like on old tires, on those like, you know, the ones I slid down the back straight with. So I don't know, and I was, you know, a little bit faster than my fellow Ollie, or not faster, but I had a little bit better tires than him after that run. So I feel pretty confident in the long run here.
Well, Cody, we'll send you back to your crew. Good luck on this restart. Hopefully talk to you at the end of the night.
Yeah, see you. Thank you.
As that will be Cody Reed working with Ollie Fonseca here tonight. That 24 deeper in the field. We'll see how well he can catch up, currently in 12th place. Cody Reed, who we just talked with, he's going to be your control vehicle on the inside. We'll see how this F&G machine can get this restart going. It's Cody Reed, John Forbes, old tires. Can they stay up front? And let's find out as Cody gets the good launch. He'll be clear for now, but Forbes, does he march to the inside? Looks like he'll follow in suit in line. It's the battle for third, though, going on.
Yeah, the battle for third, they're still side by side. Does look like Gavin might be able to inch out a little, but Brian McCann still trying to challenge for Gavin, able to clear to get control of third place. But now his sights are set on John Forbes and Cody Reed as they're 3 wide way back in the field. Joshua Kanana got a little loose there for a second, but now it's Gavin Rogers chasing down the lead again.
As Cody Reed has been passed, it's now John Forbes Jr. going to be the lead driver as Cody has a quick blink out for himself. Here's a couple of other drivers trying to march their way forward. Jared Talmadge involved with that contact with Tanner Bethea, currently running just outside of our top 10, runs an 11. Now, well, can he stay ahead of the 24 of Ali Fonseca as well as Zach Hall? Now, the 32-24, they didn't have the biggest blown-up rivalry between one another, but they had some issues late at the end of last season. We'll see how well they want to race around one another. Zach Hall trying to make this pass on the inside of Ollie, but Ollie fighting strong on that outside groove, not wanting to just lay over just yet.
Not wanting to just give it up quite that easily, but Zach Hall is able to get around Ollie Fonseca, take control of that position. Ollie's just going to fall back, get a little bit slower of a run. He's taking the entries a little slower than Zach Hall there. Might be trying to save the tires more, but Ollie Fonseca about to be getting looked at to be passed by Nico Garcia as well.
Nico Garcia trying to figure out where to go and get by this yellow Ollie machine. You might be wondering who's on the nose of that 24. Well, that's going to be Larry from Larry Arts Production. Always getting the best view as he's roaring forward as the 24, but seeing Nico Garcia, driver who's running and trying to make a move there, backs out of that fight. Thought there was a chance to get underneath that 24 machine, thinks better of it. This is that tough spot with the 2 different sides of this track, with there being 24 degrees banking through 3 and 4, 20 degrees here in 1 and 2. The different ways you have to attack the corners. There's Dean Ollie able to run of that black seam. Nico goes to the white line. Better momentum for the 24, but they're all marching into turns 3 and 4 where, you know, Richard, this corner, so tough to figure out at times because everyone just wants to get to that white line through here.
Yeah, you get that car down to that white line, it pretty much paints that car on the turn and you can stick it through. But Nico Garcia tried sending it into turn 3 there, got up to the quarter panel of Ollie Fonseca, but was able to back off just enough. They didn't get into him enough to spin him out. They were able to keep it straight. And great move by, great heads-up driving by Nico Garcia, but a huge wiggle by the number 22, and he's into the wall.
That's going to be Colby DiCarlo, who's going to be having issues for the 22 machine, and it just does not look good for the 22. He'll continue to stay on the outside, getting out of all the other drivers' ways as others are getting close to one another. Big save by the 74 of Nick Crawford as Douglas Newbegin gets close, and that's just a logjam that we continue to see through 3 and 4. When we see drivers side by side, 2 wide, 3 wide, it just doesn't look like we're going to make it through as we're going to be stacked 3 wide, 2 rows deep. DiCarlo's going to stay high. He's got Brian P. Johnson following him in suit. Daniel Medina, Ross Tatum. Medina's turning into the pinball as he's stuck in the middle. Where will the 20 go? He'll fall back out of that situation. And it's Monazzi Major. Big run for the 82 machine. And DiCarlo is just in trouble for this 22.
DiCarlo having major issues keeping that car steady. He just keeps breaking loose, and he just got passed by a whole bunch of cars after that smack into the outside wall. Still loose. Those tires, he has got, and it's,
no.
Cars get into each other trying to dodge him, and a huge hit to the inside wall.
That's the 20 to Dave Medina that takes the hard lick to the inside wall. Tanner Bethea also involved in that one, but the 78 continues to race on the 20. Does he continue to stay out on track? He does. No required damage flag, so you just have to stay out and trust you'll get a caution to fix all this damage that these drivers are accruing. But it is just door smack after door smack for some of these drivers that continue to race on. These vehicles, I mean, these next-gen cars, they're looking like tanks at this current moment with the contacts that we're seeing, and no one getting required damage flags just yet.
Yeah, it's really impressive. We haven't seen a lot of damage on these cars quite yet with the amount, like you said, they've been hitting the wall, how hard they've been hitting the walls as well. I would have definitely assumed we would have saw some major damage on the number 20 of David Medina, but he's still out on track. He's going to hope for a caution so he can get some of that damage repaired. It's just a matter of how much damage he has and how much he can get repaired under cautions, as these drivers are definitely fighting these cars and how loose they are with these older tires now.
To the lead, it's going to be John Forbes battling with Gavin Rogers as they'll stay side by side. The one doing everything in his power to stay ahead of the fresher tired 75 machine. Not going to be the case. Gavin Rogers stays low, powering up on the accelerator. And for the lead, Gavin Rogers keeping the nose ahead, but the better momentum on the outside. Forbes still fights on. And I'm looking at the drivers behind our top two. You got Brian McCann, pole sitter, still lingering up front. Brian Noel up there. Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly, Vincent Sora. You got a lot of hungry drivers that want to win that are just lingering behind these two that are really using up all their rubber with this side-by-side battle.
Yeah, and they are using a lot of that resource in the tires. I mean, Gavin has got to get around John Forbes quicker than what he is doing, or just fall back in line behind him, because John Forbes, he's going to fall back quicker than him because he's got 9 laps older tires. But you finally be able to clear him. Gavin Rogers in the lead now, clearly, and able to pass John Forbes and make that pass fully done.
Able to make the pass, able to move forward as Gavin Rogers gets it done. Now, for those drivers that did not pit, 3 of them didn't under our last caution, which was the stage break. John Forbes Jr. didn't pit. The 25 of Cody Reed, who runs in 12th, didn't pit, nor did Joshua Kanata. They've been out there for 31 laps. We're expecting the fuel numbers to be on the higher side of 50. They can go still pretty far. The question is, how far are you really wanting to test your fate on fuel due to the fact of potential yellows coming out, different strategies? Could you try to stretch the fuel out and try to turn this race into a one-stop? I'm assuming those that didn't pit, this is a 2-stop race from here. I'm curious on where you want to go with, if you want to take that final stop of fuel for these drivers, because it's now strategy time on tires, fuel, which one's more important here as we're coming up to start lap 60.
I still think, you know, based on what their times are running, I still think that fuel is going to be the strategy call. I don't think the tires are going to get to a point where they have to worry about a meatball flag for having those tires wear out completely to where it's basically a flat tire. So as long as they can keep these cars steady, keep them in their own control, they're going to run this fuel out as long as they possibly can and try to shorten up these pit stops the best they can as well.
Update on some drivers further on in the back. Only 41 were able to take the green as 44 registered for the race. Samuel Garcia, who was inside of our top 20 at one moment, finds himself being 5 laps down. He got disconnected from the server, able to get back into the server. He is currently the only driver multiple laps down and a lap down. 40 drivers on the lead lap. And here's one of the drivers that I was concerned when we were looking at qualifying, and with it being knockout qualifying, missing out. But due to the fact that some drivers not even attempting a time, Brad Delph, he is currently just trying to survive as he gets passed by the Christophers. Christopher Norris, Christopher Wade, both get through as the 71 will fall down to 29th position. I know for Brad Delph, he's trying to recover after a very poor Dover race where himself, Tyler Dangler, their rivalry went back and forth, hard contacts between each other. But currently for the 72, his goal here tonight, finish the race in a top 30 would be great. But up front, contact going to be made. It's Brian Noel, Ryan Kelly on the backstretch into turn number 3. They finally get rolling, but caution flag is out on lap 62.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Kelly and Brian Noel, the 2 cars involved, and it's just these 2. Ryan Kelly had a strong run on the outside. Brian Noel, I guess, was not expecting it. Drove up the track, and Ryan Kelly just kind of got into his rear quarter panel there and turned him up into the wall. That's just an unfortunate situation for both of those drivers.
Ryan Kelly immediately after the incident coming out over the radio said, not clear. Let's find out what he felt like not clear looked like for the 3 machine, as he was being squeezed by both of the Lucky Duck Motorsports drivers. He had Drew Jua behind him, Brian Noel ahead. And for the 3, he stays high, accelerates early, a little bit of a slip up by the 00. Kelly just trying to make the big move, and there's those moments where we talk about maybe a little bit more give and you'll get some take later. It looked like Kelly wanted to utilize that momentum while Noel was trying to hold it back. I think Noel was in the better right there, but that's a tough decision to make for the 3.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that much of a run, you do want to try and take advantage of that and not let that energy waste in getting behind somebody. But that is, like you were saying, a prime example of give a little bit now and you could take a little bit later, because that hurts both of them as they lose a ton of track position. As we're now into pit road here of pit stops, and one driver did decide to stay out. That'll be Colin Carroll in the number 4.
It's a gutsy call to make for the 4 machine. I'm curious about how that's going to work out for him, because Colin Carroll's been out there for 26 laps on that stinted tires and fuel, so that is going to be a huge difference on speed. Or maybe it's the 4 thinking about, hey, let's just get a lap of lead, get that bonus point, then come back into pit road and see how the rest of this stage moves on. That's what I'm assuming the 4 is going for. If he stays out, this is a very gutsy call by the 4.
Yeah, it's very, very gutsy call, unless he's, I mean, I don't even see it being like just trying to schedule your pit stop for the stage. I mean, if he's just trying to get that point and then come back in and get some tires, that's a strategy. But we'll have to see what he decides to do, because 26 lap old tires, that's a lot of time on those tires. He is going to fall like a rock when they get back under speed.
Yeah, that is a big difference, especially on the fact of, you look at John Forbes, Cody Reed, and Joshua Kanata. They only had about a 7-lap green flag run difference compared to the rest of their competition. This is going to be a much bigger difference that we're going to be seeing for the 4, but hey, taking that chance, that gamble to keep some track position might be the key. The 4 does not go into pit road. He stays out. That means for Colin Carroll, he's got to fend for his life to stay up front and hope and bank on maybe a quick caution to keep his positioning. As the drivers are stacking up side by side, I want to say thank you to all those that are watching with us here tonight. I know we got Lenny Reed out there, Cody Reed's dad, rooting for that 25 machine, who currently will roll just inside of the top 15. I know we got plenty of other fans out there that are rooting for drivers. Who is your favorite? Who is the team maybe you're rooting for? Maybe there's a cluster of drivers that you're hoping have a good run. And maybe who's a driver you never thought about rooting for that you're starting to notice, hey, I hope they have a good run here tonight. Would love to see. Currently looking at some of our biggest movers so far as we're closing in on halfway. Believe that our driver that is our current Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover would be the one of John Forbes Jr. in 4th place. As we just brought up a poll, here are some drivers that we might be throwing out. Who do you think could be winning from this cluster? Who do you think is going to win? The 1 of John Forbes Jr., the 32 of Zach Hall, 75 of Gavin Rogers, or the 67 of Larry Yingling? And if you don't think any of those drivers can win, hey, type in the comments. Who do you feel like is going to be that other driver? Pace car pulling off into pit road. It will be Colin Carroll, your top driver up front, getting ready for the restart, as the 475 going to be side by side as we are green once again for the Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150. The 4 old tires can't even survive turns 1 and 2. We'll find out as Gavin Rogers trying to take advantage on the outside.
Yeah, Gavin Rogers was going to try and take advantage of the outside to get the run. The problem he had is John Forbes was just shoving Colin Carroll through turn 1 and 2, which pushed him up into the path of Gavin Rogers, and he was unable to get that run. So John Forbes will take control of this race, but Gavin Rogers making quick work of Colin, along with Vincent Sora. These guys are just passing him like he's standing still right now. He could be a slight bit of a road hazard later in this field when people try to get around this slower car.
Everyone else took tires and fuel. The 4 was the lone driver that didn't, and we keep our eyes on the 4 because danger could be afoot to be around where this 4 is. It might be behind where the 4 is because we've seen the accordion effect through 3 and 4, drivers just running into one another, or could it just be that everyone cycles their way through cleanly as Nico Garcia just stuck on the outside, nowhere to go. The 71's going to lose positions. The question is, when will he find an opening to drop down low? Another driver going to be stuck on the outside. I believe that will be the 25 of Cody Reed. He doesn't have an opening. Garcia will force it 3 wide as the 4 will stay up to that outside wall.
Force that 3 wide through through the middle. Nico Garcia doing a great job. This 4 is just dropping like a rock. This is why we question Colin's decision to stay out on such old tires, as he has fallen all the way back to now. It looks like he's almost out of the top 10. 18th position is where Colin has fallen back to, and just unfortunate to see. But Shane Terrian doing a great job back into the top 10 for the controller driver here in the VRS Cup Series.
He's pushing his way forward as quickly as he can as he'll stay attached with Ollie Fonseca and Zach Hall. Nico and Cody fighting back and forth. We got a new fan rooting out there in the chat for Cody Reed. It's not just Cody's dad. We got Mason Cassidy out there. His yellow flag is out, and it's the 3 of Ryan Kelly once again going around.
Ryan Kelly having a rough race tonight, man. Involved in another accident. Looked like he's going to have some damage here as well. We'll have to see what happened. And definitely not something you normally see with Ryan Kelly. Kind of looks like he got a little bit of a tap from Brad Delph in the 72.
It's going to be going into turns 3 and 4 where this incident's going to be happening right on the entry of turn 3. Currently coming off the exit of turn 2. They'll be side by side. They got Kyle Rochelle right in front of them in the 41. And Pete Tart giving a huge moment. And it looked like for Kelly, he thought he was clear to go down, but the closing rate for the 41 slowed the 3. Delph was there. Mark Morales with a small tap to the 3. It just looked like drivers checking up, and there just wasn't enough time for the 72 to do so as well.
Yeah, and he also got tagged by the 91, so that's some huge damage that's going to happen to both of them. He might be in pit lane for a while getting that damage repaired. Unfortunate to see for Ryan Kelly, but we ride along here with the 91 of Mark Morales, and you got Ryan Kelly just sliding, long slide there. Martin just not able to pick a lane, just kind of did not make a choice. It just drove straight into the left rear of Ryan.
Sometimes it's hard to make that choice of, slinging it to the outside. When you're in the middle of the corner, if you're too aggressive on trying to make a turn to the outside, you can accidentally throw yourself into the outside wall. If you get on the brakes too hard, it can just keep you going straight or right up to the outside wall. So for Martin there, hard to make which decision was the right one immediately, and just went with the head-on collision. As we're coming up to halfway, I think we're going to take another commercial break here tonight. As drivers enter pit road, majority of them are those that are getting some damage repair. But for us here this evening, I want to say thank you to those that are watching with us. You're watching currently the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11 Race 4. Your Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150 right here at Texas. Been a fun one, a lot of cautions. We'll find out more after this. And we've got ourselves some trouble as we were under a commercial break. We were getting some camera issues trying to figure that out. But as we were coming back, trouble strikes. Here's Douglas Newbegin and a few other drivers riding off the exit turn number 4, and trouble strikes all around. Richard, I mean, we're seeing everyone on top of one another. Just one simple mistake and everything goes awry, it seems.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. Shane Tarrant got a little loose there, and just Douglas Newbegin did not let up, and it just caused a huge stack up. Drivers driving into the back of Douglas and just causing others to kind of scatter, trying to get out of the caution or the wreck. And that's what brings out our caution there, is cars sliding out of the infield as well.
I believe that was Justin Malarkey with coming in hot as drivers were going all around, and that was Justin Malarkey making contact with Tanner Bethea, who was going to be taken. This is not the caution, as if you're a Lucky Duck Motorsports fan, that you want to see. Two of them going to be with required damage flag. That's Douglas Newbegin and Tanner Bethea. And here's what happened to Tanner. He was already involved with the wreck. And Malarkey goes through the grass. Bethea lets it roll. And contact right there. And that's the situation where you're a driver in the grass. I don't think you're expecting someone to be driving through the grass to avoid that aggressively, but here's what happened to Tanner from his point of view, as he was trying to get through that carnage as best as he could.
Yeah, very interesting move by Malarkey there, just taking straight to the grass to try to just dodge all the wrecks, but huge speed, massive hit to that inside wall in the pit lane. Oh, that has gotta hurt for the 78 machine. That was a massive hit, and then just kind of rolls back out to where I guess the traffic's kind of merging, collecting Justin Malarkey.
And Malarkey not given a required damage flag, but the 78 does. And it was all clogging up. Nowhere to go. Lucky Duck Motorsports drivers getting together, and just with the way that the tri-oval is, drivers are just, you hit a bump, you lose control, really. I mean, you're doing your best to get through that wreck, but lets it roll. Another hard contact with the 73, and that could be a night done for the 7 and the 78 here tonight, that both look like strong contenders to at least get a top 15, maybe even a top 10 finish here this evening. Not gonna be the case, as both Bethea and Newbegin will have to sit in pit road for a while. Up front, still going to be John Force Jr., Vincent Soar, Kevin Rogers, Drew Jua, as a couple of drivers taking the opportunity to come into pit road and get service done under that last caution. Colin Carroll was able to come into pit road. He's moved up to 20th place, but under this current yellow, just taking fuel, going to be Ken Campbell, Christopher Wade, Brad Delph, as well as Nick Crawford, Joshua Kanata, Ryan Kelly, Mark Morales, Brian Noel. Then getting damage repair and tires looks to be Thomas Green. Cedric Hunter coming back into pit road for the 13. Chris Stitz, going to be Munatsi Major, Shane Tarrant, Cole Sacchetti, and DeCarlo all going to get service done for themselves. Malarkey, Bethea, and Douglas Newbegin all still in pit road getting service for themselves. And update for Samuel Garcia. Last we talked about him, it was back at lap 45, and he was 5 laps down. He has currently gotten a couple of those laps back. He's now only 3 laps down for the 50 machine. Only trouble, some of the drivers ahead of him, they're back out on track, so you might be losing touch to getting those laps back. Vincent Soar going to be that lead driver. Richard, first half of this race done and dusted so far. What are your thoughts initially looking at these first 77 laps?
You know, I'm going to say I'm a little shocked that we've had so many wrecks here at Texas. I would have expected, you know, something like this at Dover. But this has just been, it just feels like a lot of aggression from a lot of drivers and just nobody giving people space. I mean, there's a lot of great racing throughout the field, but I mean, I am a little shocked by the amount of cautions we've had tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is a track that's been known in the past to have races with only 1 caution, but just 3. There's been a couple of races with 7 or more. See how many more we can grab here this evening as we are back to green flag action. The start of lap 78 of 150 here this evening. And it's John Force, Vincent Soar are going to be the top 2 with a big launch heading into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, great launch from John Forbes there to take the lead. Vincent Soar right behind him, going to try to close that gap. He's going to look low. John Forbes put a small little block, it looked like, but not enough. Vincent Soar going to get side by side with John Forbes in turn 3 and 4. Vincent Soar is going to look to lead this race finally. gets the nose in front of John Forbes, and he will lead this lap off the restart.
In this lap goes the 51, Vincent Sora, the two-time champion of season 4 and 5. Wanted to be a 3-time champ to catch up to Larry Yingling. We'll see the 51 get a good run off the exit of the corner. Drew Jua really showing his first hand of being inside of the top 4 this evening, as he's watching the Nightmare Fuel teammates go back and forth between Forbes, Sora. How can you exit out of this corner cleanly? And Vincent Sora looks to be in the better running position, but they continue to stay side by side across the line there. They were side by side by 1/1000th of a second, but Drew Jua says, all right, you've been playing your games. It's my turn to fight for the lead.
Drew Jua making an aggressive move here, taking the teammates 3 wide. They're still 3 wide, a small bump almost to John Forbes from his own teammate. But 77 Drew Jua decides to back out of that, seeing these guys, and he got out of the apron a little bit. You saw the wiggle, and that's what we've been seeing all night. People getting down onto that apron, getting that wiggle, and going up into traffic. Luckily, Drew had nobody that's outside. Gavin go to look to the inside of Drew Jua. The top 6 are under a blanket right now, as we are still side by side for the lead between teammates.
And up to 6th place and battling for 5th, it's the 25 of Cody Reed. He was challenging earlier in the race, back in 26th position. At the stage, he followed the same strategy as John Forbes. Pitted early before the stage was over, took the track position, and he has succeeded with it, as they're going to be going 3 wide for the lead position once again. Down into turn number 1, Drew Jua gets by 1, it gets by 2, the 77 to the lead, but can he stay there off the exit of turn number 2? Here comes the 51 of Sora to the inside. We stay 3 wide, down into turn number 3. Sora's keeping his foot down. They'll continue to fight. Cody Reed thought about 4 wide for a second, but thinks better of it.
This racing for the lead right now is intense. You'd think they're racing for the win in the next couple of laps, but we still got half a race to go, basically. 70 laps to go, and these guys are racing like it's the final lap. Cody Reed, a huge surge to the middle, is going to try to get the pass, drifts up, almost gets into Ford. Now Vincent Sora will be in complete control of this race, and John Forbes has got momentum to catch back up to his bumper, but they are side by side for 3rd between Drew Jua and Cody Reed. Cody Reed up here challenging for that top 3.
For a quick moment, with how stacked and on top of everyone was, our top 7 were within 3/10ths of one another. They were, if you could put a blanket over our top 7, there was no space to give, but yet we continue to race on, and the driver rewarded with the most positioning there. It's Cody Reed up to 3rd place, but the wiggle off the exit of the corner could backfire. Here comes Gavin Rogers, big shove to the inside to help the 77 move forward, but it's the teammates. I mean, with all that battling, Richard, I don't understand. How is Sora and Forbes still the top 2?
I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing a great job. They are controlling the pace of this race, it seems. Being as long as they were 2 wide, even when they got challenged for the lead, they came back on the inside and the outside of Drew Jua to take back the lead 2 positions. These 2 are doing a great job working as a unit to control 1-2 here at Texas, but Cody Reed looking to the outside has got a good run, going to get side by side with Forbes, but Forbes might have a better run off the turn. They are even as they come across the line. Gavin Rogers giving a great bump to Cody Reed. It's going to surge him forward. Cody Reed looking to lead this race. He is challenging Vincent Sora out of 2.
Cody Reed trying to keep himself to the outside quarter panel, almost able to hold there, but Sora will move back up, and it is ISRC Truck Series drivers 1, 2, 3. The grouping of drivers that you could say 2-3 seasons ago, middle of the pack, known for bringing out cautions and trouble. The growth that we've seen from these 3 drivers, it is incredible to see. Sora, 2-time champion, Forbes, champion of last season. Is Cody Reed putting his hat in of a driver to watch out for as Gavin Rogers follows the 25 high? Where will you go? Here comes a couple of more ISRC truck drivers as they move in. It's Ollie Fonseca. It's going to be also seeing Talmadge. They're in the mix with Brian McCann.
They are bringing this top group together and bringing some great racing along with it. But Cody Reed has been an amazing story from last season when he won the opening race at Atlanta in season 10. He didn't plan on racing the full season, but since he locked himself into the playoffs, he thought he'd go ahead and try. He didn't have that strong of a run all season, but here he is. here at Texas for round 4 is throwing his hat in the bunch up there saying, I'm here to race this season. Let's go for another championship run.
As they're right on board with the 27 of Jared Talmadge. He's got behind him going to be the 8 of Brian McCann. Ali Fonseca to his right. And as they all try to figure out where to move forward, it has been a blast to call the top 8 and where they're at. Here's the thing. The top 8's giving us a show. This has been a pleasure to watch as Cody Reed will be 3 wide once again ahead of him, losing footing. The tires are just falling away for the 25. This has kind of been his issue, is he can really stick it early on in a run, but it's the later run where it feels like it falls away. When we talked to Cody, it felt like the long run was his strength, but that's when you're just settling, but not when you're fighting. And speaking of fighting, they're fighting further on back. It's going to be seeing Kyle Rochelle as well as Thomas Green. Hard contact for the 41 and 31.
Oh, man, some great racing here for the top 7, top 8, actually, and just in the back of the field. Still hard racing back there, but a caution brings it out. They're going to group everybody back up, and I can bet you now the entire field's going to come down, get tires, and this could be the final pit stop of the race. They can go the rest of the way on fuel. We'll see who decides to elect to come down pit road and get tires and fuel.
And this has been the chaos spot all night long. It's 3 and 4 where drivers are making bold moves and feeling like this is the corner to make passes. You're going to see it here as Rochelle's on the inside of Tart. It's going to be the 4 late diving move. Going to be from Carroll, keeps his foot in the throttle, and we've seen drivers up front, they're backing out of that situation, but further on back, they don't want to lose any spots, and Rochelle gets tossed around right in front of the 31. That brings out another caution here this evening as Rochelle and others, wow, what a aggressive takeoff and go for the 41 as DiCarlo gets caught in more issues. Also the 00, what a bizarre moment there. I don't know what caused Rochelle to feel like he could go in that moment, but decided he didn't want to wait for the rest of the field to get by.
Yeah, I don't know what was going through his mind on that one. I mean, he's facing the wrong way, but the right way to see other cars coming. So, I mean, there was no need to hit the gas there. Just wait for everybody to go by. I mean, it's causing more damage to other drivers, and that's just not what you want to see. I mean, DiCarlo getting involved again, just not having a good night for himself, and it just keeps getting worse.
It certainly does, but no required damage with all that incidences, but certainly a plenty of damage get repaired for Thomas Green as well as Rochelle. Rochelle gets a little bit of it repaired, and he'll take off and go. It's going to be Colby DiCarlo going to be in pit road getting extensive damage repaired, as well as Shane Tarian and Thomas Green getting those repairs done. Still the only 2 drivers officially out of tonight's race, Douglas Newbegin and Tanner Bethea. They are out of this thing, and Samuel Garcia, believe he'll get another position back for another lucky dog spot. This 50, even with getting disconnected, you'd rather get disconnected early so you have the time to recover, and Garcia might get back on the lead lap if we continue to have these cautions rattling off. But like you said, this could be the last pit stop of the night for these drivers. Everyone taking tires and fuel. Joshua Kanata, on the other hand, he's going with a different approach. He is going to pit for an extra lap, trying to have a little bit more security, and he'll start deeper in the field, but might have a better strategy on fuel on making it to the end, as well as tires.
Yeah, I mean, fuel I don't think is going to be an issue. They're going to be able to fill up these tanks and be able to even make, the overtime green-white checkered attempts if it comes down to it. So right now it's who can maintain their tires. It's no longer a green flag pit stop situation. They don't have to come back in for fuel. Who's going to take care of their tires for this longer run if they can get that done? Like I said, it's been a very caution-filled race. It's hard to get into a long run, groove. So it's been a lot of short stint runs, and these guys, I mean, they're doing a great job keeping these cars side by side for very long periods of time and providing fantastic racing for us to be watching and calling at the same time.
Now, we made this poll in our chat about 22 minutes ago. That was right before we just saw the chaos of the up front top 8 going back and forth. We threw out a couple of names and numbers that might be there. If you feel like there's other ones you could choose, please put them in the chat of who you think might win here tonight. We put John Forbes, Zach Hall, Gavin Rogers, and Larry Yingling in the post, currently winning by 56%. John Forbes, the favorite to win, a tie, 11% of Zach Hall and Larry Yingling, and 22% Give it to that 75 at Gavin Rogers. Got a couple of other fans of other drivers out there on course. We'll see how well they can tackle and move forward as we are green once again for the Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150. And it is seeing the fight of Vincent Soar, John Forbes, Gavin Rogers, Drew Jua, your top 4 currently, but middle of the field, it is still a madhouse on where you want to be to move forward.
Yeah, that's the place you don't want to be, is the middle of the field, and that's what a lot of these drivers know and see. So they're trying to make these aggressive moves to get up front, get up fast, get it there up fast. As you saw Nicholas Renner right there, got in the wall a little bit as he's challenging for some positions back there. Ross Tatum still further back in the field as well, as he's trying to find some space and some room as well to get back up to the front of this field.
Yeah, a lot of these guys in the middle of the pack we haven't had time to talk about because of how chaotic up front has been. But Ross Tatum, one of the drivers that needs a good run here this evening if he wants to fight to make the playoffs. Also seeing Brian P. Johnson and where he's at. Here's Larry Yingling back at 18th with Nick Crawford, who had their woes. Before Colin Carroll, he's just been on a fight to get back moving forward. It's just been a chaotic mess of drivers trying to move forward. And, you know, around that top 10 spot, we had the camera on Nicholas Renner in 9th position. We've also got Pete Tart there. Tart was one of the fastest drivers during practice. He didn't qualify where he wanted to, but I'm curious for this 40 as the run progresses. How much more knowledge are you taking in? Is the track developing into more of his racing style? As when we started this race, the track temp was around 118 degrees Fahrenheit. It has dropped a couple of degrees, now down to 115. That's helping some, a lot. And the wind is still ridiculously high inside of the 15 to 14 marker of speed. But it's just fun to watch some of the drivers who looked quick in practice now starting to get up front.
Yeah, and it's good to see Nicholas Renner up here in the top 10 as well. He's a driver that we know has got speed. He's shown it before. The biggest issue he has always had is just being involved in other wrecks, and then he just calls it a night. It's usually very early in a race. He doesn't, he's not here really for points. He's just kind of here racing for fun. He's not doing a full-time schedule with here. So he's just kind of picking and choosing races he might like, and he's doing a really good job tonight up here in the 9th position, trying to move forward, get up with his teammate of Gavin Rogers, who is now the leader of this race.
Gavin Rogers able to make the pass on the outside through 1 and 2 this last lap. And seeing the 75, he will try to stay in that top position. More people rooting it for their favorite drivers. Larry Arts Production, Larry himself is in the chat. He's rooting for Cody Reed, who currently runs in 5th. Ollie Fonseca runs in 8th. There's current highest runners of that ISRC Larry Art Productions drivers. If you don't account for the 2 favorites of Vincent Sora and John Forbes that run in 2nd and 3rd currently. Looking at some of our biggest movers so far here tonight, the biggest mover, it is the one machine of John Forbes in 3rd place. He is your current Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race, up 35 spots from where he started. Some other big movers, Nicholas Renner up 33 positions, but the biggest mover, our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover so far before the race is over, it's the one of John Forbes Jr. I gotta say, I'm not surprised to see John march his way back up to the front with the strategy calls, the speed we know he has. But this one, once again, he might start in the back, but he's always gonna be inside up front as they continue to race back and forth. And it's Nicholas Renner going around and in the grass. Trouble as he goes back up into the field. And it's David Medina going to get involved with this one as the 76 continues to roll on.
Oh, man, an unfortunate. Just got done talking about him, giving him compliments of sticking it out, being in the top 10, and just a minor mistake. I'm hoping it's not major damage for anybody, but it does look like he is going to have to nurse that car back to pit lane. Oh, you hate to see it for someone who's having such a great run, as we should find the replay to see what had happened.
The big thing here for the 76, when we were talking about him, he was getting into this outside wall off of 4, and it looks like this time bounces off. There's a driver to his inside, gets into Brian McCann, and at this point, just trying to catch it. But with oncoming traffic, that's hard to catch. Medina just nowhere to go for the 20. And I was worried that we were going to see the 76 fall down and collect more drivers, but straightens it out, gets rolling, no one else involved. And again, like you said, we just wait and see how bad was that contact with the 20. How bad is that going to ruin the 20's night? As we hop on board with the sights and sounds of Medina as he just clobbers right into the wheel. That is the worst place to make contact if you're the 75.
Yeah, that's the 76 of Nick Renner. A huge hit to that right front wheel, and it's just he didn't do anything wrong there. He was on the brakes. You saw the tires locked up, and just Medina just right up into his path. Nothing he could have done there. It's just a hard decision to make in the moment. He's going so fast on this front stretch, and that car's just not wanting to stop in front of you. So unfortunate to see. Renner, he was getting into that outside wall at it for quite a bit, and it just that time the car just went really tight and hard contact into that outside wall of 4, and then just coming across the nose of Ollie Fonseca and spinning through the infield.
Tough contact, but we'll continue to race on. A couple of more changes on the poll. We've had 13 people voting, and currently 54 of those votes have gone to John Forbes Jr. as your pick of a driver who could potentially win here tonight. Gavin Rogers at 31. Zach Hall, Larry Yingling. We were just throwing in different names. Again, this was over 30 minutes ago when we made these choices of drivers, and these were some of them that were inside of the top 10. 8% for both Zach and Larry. Also got some people rooting for Cody Reed. People who's hoping to be a part of that vote. Drew Jua, who's always very vocal out there, typing while under caution, said no 77 love. I mean, Drew, we know you're quick. You're up in 4th. We're hoping that you can continue on with this pace. I know we're usually seeing some Lucky Duck fans out there. We seem to be missing a few of them. We do have reports, though, of one driver with another issue with packet loss. That will be the 91 of Mark Morales, who looks to be out of this race. So that's another position moving up for Samuel Garcia, who, Richard, once again, another caution, another position. That's 50 machine, now only 1 lap down.
Yeah, that's great to see, and I know he's excited. He's just hoping for one more caution. I know a lot of these drivers don't want any more cautions. They'd rather be racing under green flag, but Samuel S. Garcia, when you have an issue with the internet, I mean, I used to race here in WSSR, and for about a season and a half, I was having major hardware issues and just disappearing off the track in the middle of a race. So I definitely understand the pain of that happening, and I mean, it's glad to see he's back, and he's sticking it out, getting these laps back. One more caution, and he can easily be back on the lead lap and challenging for positions, potentially even have the speed to top 20 it.
Yeah, you're always looking for how you can move your way forward. Talking about drivers that have been involved with wrecks, trying to find spacing to recover. 31, Thomas Green, we've seen him be involved in many different issues. We've seen him be involved with some of our most recent wrecks. He is up to 19th position, even with all that damage that he has accrued. I also want to say congrats to Manazzi Major, who continues to just make his way forward. We saw this last week, caught up in a couple of wrecks, avoided some wrecks, came away with a solid finish for the 82, and it looks like here tonight, trying to do the same of just stay out of trouble and gain a good finish at the end of the day. Other drivers that are marching for maybe different goals in mind, Ben Keeney and also going to be Joshua Corner, they're both looking to go for a top 30 finish here tonight. We'll see if they can gain any more spots if we have any troubles or if they find sneaky speed as we're about to go green. Thank you so much to everyone that's joining with us. Every like, every comment, it helps promote the series, helps promote the broadcast, and more eyes on the series, more better sponsors we can put for these drivers as we get ready for more green flag action. Your Cody Glencock's Beer Talkin 150 is back underway. Remember to go check out Cody Glencock's on all music stations and music platforms and look up his newest song, Beer Talkin' today. Could be the song of the summer if you're into country music, as our top 4 in line, top 5 in line, as their giddy up and go mode seems to be calm for at least this first lap as they go into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, calm is definitely the word to use. The calm before the storm, though. These guys lined up pretty quick, still 2x2. Further back, Nico Garcia, that first group of 2x2 cars, as he's finally moved himself up. He's sitting in the 7th position. That's a great run for him. He said he was looking for a strong run tonight after a terrible start to the season, and he is definitely doing it as he is challenging Cody Reed now for position.
Trying to get by Cody Reed. Vincent Sorer also having a couple of woes. Here's another driver of Pete Tart, who didn't qualify, well qualified, all the way back in 19th position, just taking every position possible for himself during practice. Pete Tart was the fastest driver during that time. Didn't translate over to qualifying pace. Obviously much quicker when you're in the draft working with other drivers, but this 40 machine, I mean, this is a great run for himself as Tart trying to make his push to maybe go for a playoff positioning. It's still early in the season. A fantastic finish could change everything. Colin Carroll up to 16th now. There's 4, no fight, nor does the 31. They might have been caught up in multiple wrecks here this evening, but they are both trying to make it inside of the top 15. Top 10 is calling for both of them if they can continue to stay out of trouble, though.
Yeah, staying out of trouble is the key. We've seen a lot of drivers. I mean, they could easily make it up through the field. It's just not getting involved in the issues in front of them. Or, I mean, Colin Carroll, he stayed out on those old tires and felt like a rock, but it has put him in a good position to maintain where he kind of is at the moment, even move up with these fresher tires. So great to see him doing that. To ride along with Christopher Norris now as he's doing a good job today. Had some small issues for himself, but he's looking for a strong run after having one race of being suspended a few weeks ago as well.
Yeah, suspended after his intentional contact with Brad Delph after that first initial race at Atlanta, then missed out on the second race at Rockingham. Had a pretty poor showing last week at Dover. Didn't get the practice in that he wanted, but here tonight, got to say, for Christopher Norris, up to 13th. And when it's a quiet night for the 38, that means he's having a good night, because there have been nights where he is the center of attention, you could say, of bringing out yellows. Driver who's been the center of attention in both the series we call here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Here's John Forbes Jr., 5th place, falling out of that lead position, but he lingers behind the 8 of Brian McCann, and looks like he is not in fight mode, but survival. Let's just survive this run and maybe go into attack mode later on. It looks like you can make passes if you're willing to make the dive bomb moves. Question is, for the one, how much are you willing to just watch your top 2 drive away? Because, oh, never mind, caution in the back, and it's Brad Delph for the 72.
The cautions keep rolling in. These drivers are struggling to get into some kind of rhythm. And it's just, this is out. These front group has kind of stretched out in single file, but it's, again, back in the hornet's nest, further back in the field. These guys are trying to get the ground and get the spots open, but Brad Delph, the reason for this caution, leading kind of a small pack of cars there, not quite caught up to the ones in front. Going into turn 3 here, they're not really side by side. Gets down onto that apron, it looks, slows down a little, almost up to the wall, just gets loose out of 4 and comes across the nose.
Luckily, off corner, able to sneak his way through, and no one else going to be involved in that wreck. Kenny gets through. Medina says, grass is my friend, and away they go. No other driver is going to be involved with that one. That's another quick caution. It's going to be thrown out here tonight. 40 laps to go here this evening. We've been out there cleaning. We've been out there for these drivers up front. Top going to be 25 drivers are on 20 lap old tires. A lot of them have already used 2-3 sets of tires. You've got, for some, maybe 1 set left in pit road. Some may have 2. Is this the go time, or do you wait for potential another late caution? Games are being played. A lot of the front runners not going to be heading to pit road just yet as they continue to stay out.
Looks like nobody's coming down pit road except maybe a few cars in the back there. It's the best chance they have to move up through the field. But with this caution, the biggest benefactor, Samuel S. Garcia, will get his lucky dog, and he should be able to get back on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken here, as he's passing people now. Samuel S. Garcia back on the lead lap. He might want to stop to get some tires and make a strong charge through this field to end this race strong after his mishap of getting disconnected earlier in this race.
I mean, being 5 laps down, 40 laps into this race, I mean, you feel like your race is over, and you're just going in there mentality-wise of, well, I'll just take whatever I can take. There have not been a lot of drivers being knocked fully out of this race, but when drivers are knocked out, they stay in pit road long enough for him, for Garcia to pass them under these cautions. And for the 50 machine, back on the lead lap for the first time since lap 30 when he got disconnected from the race. Welcome to a chance to gain even more positions. Richard, that is an incredible story by the 50 machine. We just hope that he stays out of trouble for these final 40-ish laps.
Yeah, I hope he stays out of trouble, definitely. I mean, you hate to see him get back on the lead lap, just get involved in another situation that puts him a lap down again. So we're definitely going to hope he has a very clean rest of this race. But it's going to be a story to watch to see how far now he can come up through the field, being, you know, like we said, 5 laps down the entire race, basically. So it's going to be great to see how many positions he can gain in these last 47 laps.
I want to give shout outs to the sponsors once again here this evening. Again, our race sponsor, Cody Glenn Cox. Go check out Cody Glenn Cox out on all music stations as he is trying to go on more and more tours out there. His newest song, Beer Talkin', just came out this week. Awesome to have musical talents marching in and joining in. Funny, cool story though about Cody Glenn Cox. He actually raced in the WSSR back in the early days, back in those first 3 seasons. Cody was able to go out there and race, so wanting to sport a league that he was a part of so long ago, back in the COVID pandemic days. So thankful to have drivers returning back even when they're pursuing their dreams. So again, go check out Cody Glenn Cox's newest song, Beer Talkin', today. Also, thank you to Virtual Racing School, otherwise known as VRS, the title sponsor of the WSSR Cup Series. Go check out virtualracingschool.com and all the ways that they can help you provide give you telemetry data to help you elevate your racing performance on the sim track and beyond. Also, GTR simulators, Trophy Smack. Also want to say thank you to Sim Precision Prints and the camera providers for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Whiplash Sim Cams. Into the restart zone, it's the 75 of Gavin Rogers, going to take us to the green as the one, John Forbes Jr., takes the advantage, saw a hole, moved up high, and it is all the 75 pulling away.
Gavin Rogers, another great restart, just shoots out like a cannon, gets a very comfortable lead. And right now, he's just going to kind of walk away with it. He's still got to worry about tire wear, though, because those other guys could be saving a little bit more than him. Vince's Sora getting close to Brian McCann, upsetting that car and gets him out of the way. Both teammates are going to sit there and pass the number 8 machine to Brian McCann. And Nico Garcia is also looking. McCann, a lot of ground loss with such a small bobble in the turn.
Where will you go? Can you recover these positions? And it's Brian McCann, Nico Garcia going to be side by side. Cody Reed trying to just salvage a good run. We've seen him fight for the lead. We've seen him fight in the top 5 and currently will settle in 7th position. As drivers of note to watch out for, trying to climb their way forward with fresher tires than most of the field. Going to be Joshua Kanata back in 23rd position. Nick Crawford back in 29th position. He is the first of those that just took fresh tires under this most current yellow. As up front, still Gavin Rogers and the rest of the field. Where can you place yourself to go forward? Here's Ken Campbell, as well as a few others just inside of our top 20 on trying to make big passes back and forth. Brian Noel, who once was inside of our top 5, the 00, trying to get back into a fighting position inside of our top 20 currently.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd place that we don't see Brian Noel normally is that far back. He's usually up in the top 10 majority of the race and even challenging and fighting for wins. So he's definitely back in a spot not normally seen. Ken Campbell on his outside, he's trying to keep him down there, get this run and get around him. And just a lot of side-by-side racing back in the middle of the field. These guys are not giving anybody any kind of space to get this straightened back out and get it single file.
Absolutely not. A lot of this side-by-side cluster that's starting to accordion its way backwards. It's starting around 12th place, where it was Pete Tart, Larry Yingling. They were side-by-side for a quick moment. Now it's going to be the fighting action behind Christopher Norris and Thomas Green and Colin Carroll, as the 31 of the 4 just cannot find a way to get away from one another. They just continue to fight and claw back and forth. And Campbell, though, stays high. You're just seeing the difference. Some with the aggressive entry into turn 3. Others try to stay patient for a better exit at turn number 4. And those differing ideas of how you want to go into the corners have brought out a lot of issues. As Noel, quick moment through the grass, keeps it 3 wide, and Zach Hall is the one that backs out of that situation. He saw that it was a crazy spot. 32 is not happy over the radio, as he'll lose over 5 positions because of that move by the 00, as they're still fighting ahead of him.
Yeah, Zach Hall, everyone just looked like they slowed way down, and Zach Hall just kind of almost shifted into the turn a little bit, getting close to the 31's quarter panel. He decides to get out of it, give them the space, but doing so, like you said, lost 5 positions. That is a huge loss for Zachary Hall, who's having a pretty decent run tonight. But, Cedric Hunter almost got turned by the 41 machine there, but he's able to keep it straight, and it's just a big stack up again here in the middle of the field.
And it's another thing where Hall is the one that backs out of that situation because he's trying not to cause collisions, while others, they keep their momentum, they keep their space, and it's just continuing a loss of time for the 32, who just has not been able to find his footing this season. Qualifying hasn't been there, and during the race, not able to really get inside of the top 10 where he feels like he should be running, as Ali Fonseca and co. I mean, we went from watching Hall battling inside of her top 15 to now almost outside of the top 30 in just 2 laps because of those big checkups.
Yeah, and Zach Hall even had a rough season last year also. He was the defending champion last season. I mean, he was rocking the number 1 because he was the champion in season 9. Decided to take the number 1 for his car for season 10 and did not have a very good run last season. And it just kind of looks like it's just kind of boiling over into this season as well. We're looking forward to him to finally find some footing, but Ali Fonseca is going to give him a nice little shove, try to get him back up through the field. Just unfortunate event there for a couple laps for Zachary Hall.
Where can you go? And it is just all stacking up 2-3 wide as Ali Fonseca getting close. That's the 22 of Colby DiCarlo, who's going to be on the outside, and that 22 still is just getting absolutely destroyed. High, low, anywhere you can go. Ali Fonseca sees an opening. He'll take the outside run to get by Hall as he marches forward. I'm looking at some of the battles, though, further up ahead. Here is going to be Larry Yingling, the 4 of Carroll, also the 00, Brian Noel. This is the battle just inside of the top 15, but it's looking at the battling from 9th on back. Ross Tatum started 31st position. It hasn't been really a gamble on taking a set of tires here and staying out. That strategy call hasn't been it. It has been raw speed by Ross Tatum that's got him inside of the top 10. What a march by the 21 machine. And then Christopher Norris, he's now inside of the top 10 for the 38. You got to be careful, though. Pete Tart, Shane Tarian, they seem to be on the march that they want to get inside of the top 10 and get by those 2.
These drivers all had been out on the track for 33 laps. These older tires, they're starting to slip away from them. But I mean, you're seeing which drivers have taken it easy on the tires themselves. Which drivers have taken it easy on the tires, because they're the ones that are going to start moving forward a lot quicker. As you see Shane Tarian right now looking on the outside of Christopher Norris. He should be able to complete this pass. There's a wreck on the backstretch going into 3, involving the number 4, the 13, the 16. Huge wreck going into turn 3.
And Larry Yingling as well. And it was the 4 of Colin Carroll just trying to make an aggressive 3-wide move where there was no space. And it collects multiple drivers. And it just continued to pile on even after the fact that drivers come to a halt. There you see the 4 finally able to get moving for himself. But you're getting later in the run. Some drivers are still in patient mode. Others say it is my time to go. Green light has been awarded. And you see the 4 tries to go for the pass on Yingling, and there's just no space. And here comes the wall of drivers piling in.
Huge damage for 3 of the drivers involved in this wreck. Joshua Kanata looks like he might have gotten a little bit of damage, but out of all 4 of them involved, looks like he might have been the one that got the least amount of damage. But yeah, just trying to get around, you know, he's had a run on the outside, tried to go through the middle there. Larry Yingling, he had a little bit of space. He could have done it, but I think he just came down a little bit too much, involving Larry Yingling and pushing everyone back up the track into the 4 of Colin, the Cedric Hunter.
And here's another look at Larry Yingling's run, because I believe he also got some extra damage after the fact. You're going to see the 67 try to come to a halt, and there's a small tap. Brad Delph into that 67, just nowhere to go. And Kenny creeps his way through. Same for Justin Malarkey, but small little tap for the 72 that also just can't get away from collecting some extra damage after the fact. Pit road stops are made, and a couple of drivers taking a gamble. Some staying out, some taking 2 tires, others taking 4. And it is a mosh podge of different driver calls for our top 10. Gonna be your top 4 deciding to stay out. Ali Fonseca, Nick Crawford, and Brad Delph, who was involved in that wreck. He will stay out. Cole Sacchetti on the oldest set of tires. He pitted 36 laps ago. He will restart in 3rd, and it's a 2-tire call made for John Force, Vincent Sora, Brian McCann, as well as Ryan Kelly and Pete Tart. Gonna be your top 9, and then Gavin Rogers taking 4 sets of tires for himself. Same for Nico Garcia, And then the last driver to take 2 was Jared Talmadge in 12th. But our top 4, Richard, this is a gamble. And I'm more scared for probably the 29 who does go into pit road, as he saw that he was trying to lead a lap, but not going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the smartest call by these drivers. I mean, Cole Sacchetti, he's coming in to get tires. I mean, 36 lap old tires, you're just gonna fall like a rock. It's not even worth staying out at all. So he's gonna go in and get the tires and just try to work his way back. Oh, he's got a black flag also for Cole Sacchetti. But all I have to say, Nick Crawford, Brad Delph, 16 lap old tires. I mean, that's still pretty old for these tires. But if they save, they might be able to hold off for a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold off very long. We still have just over 30 laps left of this race. And I think the 2-tire call might be the one that's going to win this race. And it might be something Gavin Rogers looks back on and be like, oh, maybe I should have took 2 instead of 4.
I mean, it certainly is a call that can help you out in the short run. I'm curious on the long run how that's going to work out if we can stay clean and green. Update on why the 29 was given a black flag. He entered a closed pit stall, and he missed his first opportunity to go in. If you don't go in with that group initially, you are not able to go back in. That is closed for you. Other drivers that have already pitted can top off later as it's still open. Cole should be given a end-of-the-line penalty with pitting late. See how well that 29 can re-attack with that penalty. Other drivers sent to the end of the line. Larry Yingling seemed like he asked to get an end-of-the-line penalty with his extra damage. Didn't want to slow any other drivers down, but we'll see how our top 3 can stay ahead, or will they fall backwards? Brad Delph not able to even take off and go for the 72 on the inside. It's all Ollie Fonseca, Nick Crawford, John Forbes. Where do you go? The 72 is still blocking as he stays as low as he can. Watch out as they are all ping-ponging around the 72 that is underpowered and just in survival mode off the exit turn 2.
Brad Delph literally falling like a rock. He has fallen all the way back to the 18th, almost out of the top 20. Not able to get that car under control, and just that little slip up lost him 20 positions almost.
And remember, he made contact with Larry Yingling during that last caution. He has slight damage he's dealing with on top of older tires. He's trying to stay out of the way. He'll stay high. We'll see how well they can do that. Up front, Ollie Fonseca doing his best with old tires to stay ahead. Not going to be the case as John Forbes. Fresh rubber. He might have only taken 2, but it's good enough to get him to the point. Forbes leads the way. Vincent Sora trying to follow in soon as well. Same with Ryan Kelly. They're just stuck with the fact of those older tires from Ollie Fonseca and Nick Crawford. They're keeping decent pace, but they will get past as the run goes on.
Yeah, he's just going to keep on falling by. He's not going to really be able to defend these spots very well as Vincent Sora makes the pass really easy around Ollie. But, I mean, they're all just going to get around him. Ollie's just trying something out here, get as many positions as he possibly can. The tires aren't too terribly old, so maybe by the time he gets back into, like, the 10th to 15th spot, the tires might plateau and even out a little bit. He might be able to defend, but we got another caution.
And it's Cody Reed as well as Brian McCann as they get involved with this one. And just finding those drivers side by side, it looked like for Brian McCann, Cody Reed, they got squeezed up with Shane Tarian. And the 25 frustrated with the incident being involved with this one. And Cody almost getting more drivers involved with this wreck. We'll take a closer look at what initially brought out this yellow. And Richard, I mean, this is a worst case scenario if you're the 25, as he's just going to be the meat stuck in the middle, nowhere to go.
Yeah, he got a little loose, tried to shoot it through the middle. Shane Tarian also got a little loose, but that's what happens. 3 wide coming out of turn 4, and just Cody Reed let the car kind of roll back down to the middle of the track.
Did Delph get hit again?
Yeah, he involved Delph with that. It was almost Cedric Hunter as well.
I know Cedric vocal over the radio. Always hear a driver shout, hold the brake, but some do, some don't. And Delph expecting the 25 to hold it, and he did graze. Did get some contact corner, big slide for the 2. Luckily, he didn't get into that outside wall, but got scary close to it. And both the 2 as well, as the 72 will race on. Here's Cedric Hunter's point of view as he used the first contact to see where was Cody. And Cody was high, he was high, he was high, now he's low.
Yeah, that's just not controlling that car. Like, you need to get on your brakes when you're involved in a wreck like that. And the only time we've seen that really be a major issue that, not under your control really, like, was Nicholas Renner earlier when he was actually on the brakes. You saw all the tires locked up, but that one was just, it looked like Cody Reed just let the car roll from the outside wall back to the center of the track. And that's something you don't want to do. It's going to involve drivers that don't need to be getting involved in an accident that they were nowhere close to being involved with.
We got Tyler Wren out there asking the bold question. That's Tyler Dangler. I know Tyler is just baiting, as him and Brad Delp have had their issues last week at Dover. Asking the question, is that 72 ARCA braking? No, I would not say that was an ARCA brake. That was more of how could you predict Cody coming back down? A slight raise there, but back to the current race at the moment. We've got ourselves coming down when we go green. It's going to be about 15 laps to go. And Richard, we got the 2-tire calls, we got the 4-tire calls. I'm looking at Ollie. I'm also looking at Nick Crawford. They pitted for Ollie 4 times, for Crawford over 7. I'm curious if maybe they used up all 4 sets that they had in pit road. That's why they had to stay out. That's the only thing that I could think of on why they're staying out as long as they are. And the fact that they have no more sets to use, that could be the reasoning why. As we wait for the base car lights to go off, then we'll be given the 1 to go indicator. But I mean, if that's the case, they are stuck in a rough spot for the 24 and 74.
Even if they don't have, or even if they have tires in the pits at this point, they'd have at least 1 set, at the most 1 set, if they haven't used them all. But they've kind of made their bed right now. They just kind of got to lay in it. There's not much they could do, because if they pit now, they're dropping all the way back to like the 34th, 35th position, if not even worse. So, I mean, right now they're just, as long as they can hold on, they can still score a top 20, if not even just a little bit better than that. So, I mean, right now they just got to hold on to those cards, hold on to those cars, and, hope those tires are being nice to them.
Hoping for the best. It's going to be the Nightmare Fuel teammates, though. Going to be 1-2. Vincent Sora, John Forbes. A familiar scenario that we have seen many a times between these two. Late in the race, 1-2. And usually, we've been seeing here of recent, it is John Forbes, the one that takes the win at the end of the day. As Vincent Sora going to be hoping for a good launch. I think we could probably close the poll of who we think's going to win. As 56% calling John Forbes. Of our 4 drivers that we threw out an hour ago, 6% for both Larry Yingling and Zach Hall, and then the 31% for the 75 of Gavin Rogers, who Rogers has got to find a way to move forward. Problem, he's got Ollie Fonseca directly in front of him. This is going to be a tough restart for that 75 crew. We'll see how well he can take off and go here as we get prepared. 15 laps to go for the WSSR VRS Cup Series Race 4. Your Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150 is back underway. Forbes with a good launch. Sora keeping it close. And Gavin Rogers is trying to woo that 24 moving forward. But let's go 3 wide down into turn number 1.
Yeah, Gavin's wasting no time to try to get around Ollie Fonseca in order for him to get up there and challenge for that lead again. He's got to get around Ollie quick, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He got to the inside of Ollie Fonseca, knowing he has older tires, is able to stick it to the inside. He's going to get around Ollie this turn, but now Ollie Fonseca is going to keep Ryan Kelly, but it got another caution out.
It's the 41, and it's Rochelle, and it's another entry into turn number 3 of trouble. And hey, it's a driver we haven't talked about on the lead lap yet getting involved with Rex. It's the 50 machine of Samuel Garcia, poking the nose to the inside, trying to get by this 41 machine with a big late diving move, and that's just a tough call to make. You're late in the race. We talk about giving space early on in that first half, but they're not going to be giving up the space. Is going to be the 41 or the 50.
And I know the drivers right now, they are not happy right now. They are expecting a lot more green flag racing tonight. But, I mean, in Samuel S. Garcia, like, you were down 5 laps all race. You finally back on the lead lap. The laps are counting down to the end of this race. I mean, you're trying everything you can. The gloves are off. It's time to move. It's time to get up and try to move your way up through this field.
Trying your best, the best that you can. And I know also a factor for these drivers is the weather. I know that it's tough. Drivers on their own little text chat that only drivers and spectators can see. drivers are complaining about the weather. They're saying, hey, they would have preferred a night race over a day race. And you see the temps. Air temperature has gone up. It's now 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp, though, only has dropped just a few degrees. Start up at 118 degrees Fahrenheit. We've only dropped down to 113. And I know for some drivers, they've gotten used to that weather. Some, it's warmer than what maybe they're used to. And WSSR, it's always on the warmer side that they want to put these cars and make the cars as difficult as you can as drivers. But sometimes maybe it can be overbearing at moments.
Yeah, that's one thing that racing with these guys, I've noticed they do love the hotter track temperature. And I guess like you said, they make the cars a little harder to drive, but that was always one of my biggest things that I didn't care for is the lack of how can you say, I guess the temperature differences is every track is extremely hot. Because I mean, even at Dover, which is a track you wouldn't expect to be extremely hot, is always it was really hot last week. So but yeah, it adds another factor to these drivers. They have to be able to keep these tires cool as much as they possibly can, because the hotter these tires are, the less grip they have and the more they start to wear. So it just adds a factor that seems to be a little unbearable for a lot of these drivers tonight.
It's bearable for some. Others are taking it to success. With all these cautions that are coming out, it's helping out those that decided to stay out with those older tires. Ali Fonseca, Nick Crawford, they are taking full advantage of the fact that they are still inside of the top 10. See how well this might help them moving forward as racers are getting prepared for this upcoming restart. Those that are watching, we want to say thank you. I know we've been getting a few more popping in and watching as this race has gone on. We highly appreciate it. If you would like and also comment, who are you rooting for? And if you're liking the broadcast, liking the racing action you're seeing, remember to hit the like button on this race. It helps get more eyes on the race for WSSR and ISRC Truck Series. The more eyes that are watching, the more sponsorships that these leagues can get and the more rewards the drivers can have. And the more eyes, also it just helps everyone to have a better chance, maybe get more drivers involved with this series and more talent. It's better racing action as well. As we get ourselves prepared to go back to racing action, it is going to be 11 laps to go run for Forbes. Sora, the teammates, continue to be up front. This go around, though, Gavin Rogers is going to be second in line on the inside. And I'm expecting a big run from the 75 on this restart. Jarrett Talmadge lingering back. We'll see if that linger back helps him on this restart or not. Same for Ali Fonseca. It looks like both of them are trying to set up for a good launch here. As we enter the restart zone, your Cody Glencock's Beer Talkin 150 is back underway here at Texas, as it is all Forbes, all Sora, and it's side by side for third place on back.
Yeah, side by side for third place, and even 3 wide back there for the 6th place area as well, 7th and 8th. But Gavin Rogers finally getting around Ali Fonseca. Now he's going to try and chase down the leaders. But the 77 Drew Drua behind the number 27 of Jarrett Talmadge. He's trying to make a move and get around these guys as well. And they're going to take Ali Fonseca 3 wide. Ali on those older tires. It's looking like he's not going to be able to maintain a lot of these positions as they're all scrambling to get around Ali as they complete that lap.
High, low, anywhere you can go, but get by the 24. Will you see content? Ryan Kelly trying his best to get on the outside. Ali Fonseca doing everything in his power to keep the position. Not going to be the case. The 24 falls back. Now he's got to be careful because he's fallen to the clutches of where Nick Crawford is, where they're already 3 wide. Will they have to force it 4 wide as Crawford continues to linger and fall backwards? Trouble is afoot. Where will it fall? Can we stay green? Kelly into the wall as we continue to race on. It is going to be the fastest lap of the race. Give it to Vincent Sora with his 2-tire call that he made 15 laps ago.
Vincent Sora getting the fastest lap. But he's got Gavin Rogers right there in his shadow. It is 2 teammates again, 1, 2, and Gavin Rogers in 3rd. Shades of Dover here at Texas. Gavin is looking to get around these 2. He wants this oval win. He's still got about a little less than 10 laps to do it, 7 or 8 laps to go. Time's ticking down. He's got to get a move made and make a dive in a gamble move to get around Vincent Sora and chase down John Forbes.
Top three running in the same positions that they were at the end of last week's race at Dover. It was John Forbes, it was Vincent Sora, and Gavin Rogers. It was slight slip up and mistakes by Vincent Sora that cost them an opportunity to fight to get by this one machine. Will tonight at a 1.5-mile course, a track that Vincent Sora has won back at season 9. Now that was on the Legacy course. He looked quick then. He also won back at season 6 in an incredible pass getting by Zach Hall in the final 3 laps. Tonight, could Vincent Sora find a little bit more magic to become a 3-time Texas winner here in the WSSR VRS Cup Series? Or can John Forbes get himself etched into the history books of winning at this course? Cross the line, 6 laps to go for Forbes.
Don't count the other drivers, though. Jarrett Talmadge has closed the gap to Gavin Rogers, and he's got Drew in tow as well. So the top 5, any one of these drivers can win this race still. It's just who's going to make that gamble move, who's going to make that daring move to get around the other person and set someone up. Gavin Rogers still looking at the back of Vincent Sora's bumper. He really wants this oval win. He's trying to find the position to be able to make that pass.
5 to go, and you talk about the cream rising to the top. The top 6 drivers and where they were at the end of last week's race, they are currently in the top 6 for a quick second. Christopher Norris fighting back, trying to break off Ryan Kelly and keep him fighting for the 6th place spot. Not a chance to kind of run down our top 5. They seem to be in their own zip code. It's going to be really about who makes and minimizes the mistakes here late. 4 to go. Kelly's still fighting with Norris, who's on the inside groove. Brian Noel still in the fight. Nico Garcia trying to have one of his best finishes of the season. Garcia's best finish this season was 24th all the way back at Atlanta. Could tonight be the night that he gets a top 10 run as he now moves up into 8th place?
Nico Garcia doing a fantastic job finding the spots to be able to make the moves, but he's kind of stuck behind Christopher Norris and Ryan Kelly right now. These guys are all side by side. We saw Ali Fonseca just out of the corner of my eye there, gets a little loose. Ryan Kelly gets turned by Christopher Norris, but they keep it straight. No, they're spinning on the front stretch. Garcia involved as well.
And it's a big one. More drivers piling up into the field as they Kareem across the field. Drivers trying to hold their brakes. Some able to, some not. And the big one late as we're heading to overtime.
Massive wreck at the end of the front straightaway here. Started as they entered the front straight out of 4. Norris gets into the quarter panel of Kelly. Kelly might have came across his nose. They got a little sideways, but it caused the stack up, and then Kelly turned again, involving Nico Garcia. Then up the track they go, involving multiple drivers, as drivers just could not dodge the situation.
And then there goes Nico. Off the nose of Brian P. Johnson, what was going to be his best finish of the season. Throw it away. Ken Campbell, Zach Hall, everyone trying to find an opening to get through, and it was all the wrong ones as drivers continue to pile in, others sliding through the wreck, and we are heading to overtime. Our first of 3 attempts have needed, and here's another look at it from the blimp view in the chopper cam to get a sense of was there net code or was this just a full-blown hit. As drivers were exiting out of the corner, it just it was the same issue we've seen a couple of times. A little rough to see there if it was net code or not, but Richard, I mean, hard wreck for all, but it was the coming across the track part that collected more drivers that you hate to see.
Yeah, and even Norris right there, he was on the brakes. Same thing with Nick Renner earlier. Norris on the brakes. It's just you have so much speed coming down to that or out of that front stretch, and that grass, it doesn't really slow you down very much. So once he finally got on the asphalt, that's when the car wanted to finally start slowing down. But still so much speed, and you see Ross Tatum there just at the top of the screen. He was in massive damage, nose to the wall, and he ended up towing. But some massive spins there, some massive hits by a lot of drivers. And Nico Garcia looking to have one of his strongest finishes tonight. That chance probably done.
And there comes Ross. Just clips the 3, and it ricochets him right down to the inside. And that will bring out a couple of more drivers. Norris, Kelly, Tatum, all officially out of this race. They've left the server, and they're calling it. They are done for this evening. Oh, rough sight to see. Lights are still on. We are still under pacing. But here's your scenario. You've got John Force, Vincent Sork, Kevin Rogers, Jared Talmadge, Drew Jewell going to be your top 5, with Brian Noel going to be in 6th position. 7th is Shane Tyrion with Brian P. Johnson. 8th, 9th is Pete Tart. Nico Garcia, even with that spill, he is currently in 10th place, was able to get those positions back, but how much damage has that 71 collected for himself? We're about to be given the 1 to go indicator as we are under our first attempt at overtime. It will be a green-white checkered attempt. 2 laps to go. When we go green, it will be if we stay green to the white flag, then when this race will become official, and it's whoever crosses the line next. But if we get a caution under this first lap, that will send us into our second attempt at overtime. Richard, I mean, it's honestly a hold your breath moment, because we could see a wreck up front with the big moves we've seen. It could be in the middle, it could be in the back. This is going to be a chaotic restart that I got a feeling we might need a second or maybe even a third attempt at overtime.
It's very possible we might see it. The aggression has been through the roof tonight. And Sam, I know we raced last night in another race, and I don't know if it's a full moon outside or not, but this is 2 back-to-back races that I've witnessed that it's just been a heavy caution-filled race, and both tracks are different styles also. So tonight has just been caution after caution. I know the drivers do not like sitting in caution. Eye pacing is what they like to say. Green flag racing is what this league really prides itself over, but it is now overtime, and these drivers, the aggression's going to go even further through the roof. Who's going to be able to make the moves and get the positions needed? Gavin Rogers is going to be chasing Forbes and Sora, the teammates on the front row, to try and chase that win, and Jarrett Talmadge also in the mix.
Brian McCann has broken the streak of having a different pole sitter at every racetrack. Will John Force break the streak and become the first multi-time winner for season 11? It's time to find out. First attempt at overtime. Can we keep it clean and green? Let's find out as the Cody Glenn Clocks Beer Talkin 150 is underway, and Forbes, great launch for himself. Sora has to slot himself in line. The teammates are trying to pull away from the battling side by side of Jared Talmadge and Gavin Rogers. Talmadge's goal, just hold back, play a little bit of gunner, and let the teammates fight it on as caution flag looms. We're wrecking behind. It's Hall, it's Irizarry, and we're going to overtime attempt number 2.
Overtime attempt number 2 is going to happen. Nico Garcia, all that damage on his car. He's just trying to hold on. Got tight out of the turn, got up into the wall, which caused Zach Hall to try and dodge him, but turned down across the nose and involved spinning him to the inside wall. Unfortunate to see Zach Hall having another rough race. He is not enjoying tonight.
No, he is not. Been very vocal over the radio of the driver channel, and he's just been frustrated with how the night has gone, and it just continues to blossom into a flower he does not want to see. As take another look at it, Irizarry, Hall. I mean, Hall was already dealing with a lot of front-end damage. We know that Nico was also dealing with damage because he was involved in the last wreck that put us into overtime. Those tires were gone, the wall was calling, and inside wall was calling for the 32. As Irizarry continues to race on, Hall, I mean, he's going to stay out there. He needs every point. Zach is not in a comfortable position point-wise when you look at how the schedule looks fully. After the first 3 races, Hall was 39th in points. He needs every point if he wants to go after this chase. He might miss out if he continues to have a season like this continuing on. Now, we say that. Vincent Sora, who's in 2nd, he made it to the chase, and he had a very similar trajectory that Hall is having currently. Was back in the 40s position in points. He went on an incredible run that put him in the into the playoff run. We'll see if Hall can find that same magic. It just won't start here tonight at Texas. We have Portland next week, where we know Hall can be good at road courses. We'll see if his luck changes there. But tonight, we're in overtime attempt number 2, as the drivers are stacked up, ready to get back to racing as soon as possible. As our front 4, front 6, they are already side by side, and they know it's go time. Gotta say, we're still waiting for the lights to go off to give us the 1 to go indicator. But Richard, I mean, your second attempt at overtime, if you're anyone up front, what do you think their mentality is to make any passes, if it's even possible?
The problem they're having is just Forbes and Sora are getting such a great launch off the restart that they get such a big lead that when Talmadge and Gavin Rogers are side by side for almost an entire turn and straightaway, they're just losing so much time to those front guys. They've got to get settled in. They got to get straightened back out. and try to keep that gap, get on that gas pedal as quick as you can when that restart happens. But when you got teammates on the front row and they have control of the start of the race, they can time it over their voice chat and they can get that jump. It's just who's got the faster reaction. If Gavin Rogers can, or Jarrett Talmadge even, could get a fast reaction as soon as they hear that car go, then they might be able to keep up on the bumper and challenge those guys. But I mean, it's going to be really hard to pass Forbes and Sora with the way they've been controlling this race.
It certainly will, with Jarrett also being a part of that Nightmare Fuel team. All three of them can time this restart and pull away if they would like. Well, we are again getting ready. Lights are off. We're going this time by your overtime rules. We are in overtime attempt number 2. It is going to be a 2-lap to go scenario when we go green. If we get a caution under this first lap before taking the white flag, we will go to overtime attempt number 3. If we take the white flag and the racing continues on without a yellow, it is free game. It is all about who crosses the line first. And we've seen the teammates play nice. Is tonight a similar window? Are you willing to let John Forbes just take complete control and go back-to-back, winning at Dover and then here at Texas? Or will Vincent Soar, Jarrett Talmadge try to spoil their teammates' night? Nightmare Fuel, 1, 2, 3. Gavin Rogers going to be rolling in 4th with Drew Jua, Shane Tarian, as well as Brian Noel, and seeing Brian P. Johnson, Tart, and Ken Campbell, your top 10. It is our second attempt at overtime. Thank you for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Is this the last restart? Do we need another one? Your Cody, Glenn Cox. Beer Talkin 150 is back underway. Teammates take off. Gavin Rogers is stalling, and it is just your top 3 looking good, but the top 2 stays side by side down into turn number 1.
Gavin Rogers did not have a strong start there, that top 3, but we got a caution again, overtime number 3 for the night.
Brian P. Johnson spun around. He was inside of the top 10, and he blinked out. Oh no, he just completely disappeared, and just when he came back, he was already spun around. This is going to be an awkward look at this restart. You're going to see everyone in line, but he blinks out there right when we're taking the green. And then he's gone for the whole straightaway. Everyone's confused. Where is Johnson? Where is Johnson? Don't worry, he'll pop up. The only problem, he's going to be completely spun around, tossed around, and spit out on the outside lane as the field goes into turn 1. There goes the 28, going for a ride on the outside.
Yeah, that's the downside about the internet racing here is Brian P. Johnson. It just doesn't have a very strong connection, disappears from everybody's view, and then nobody knows where he is. Like, he can still see he's on track, but they don't know where he is, and someone might have gotten into him. And when he finally reappeared, he was spinning all over the place up against that outside wall. It's just a strange situation. You hate to see it, but this is the last attempt at overtime. And, you know, when you go to 3 overtimes, that caution that comes out with after the green flag, that will be the end of the race. Or they take the white flag and they can race to the checkered flag.
You are correct. If this overtime attempt is our final restart of the night, we will finish this race under green or under yellow. And it is going to be a tough one because if we, like you said, if we get a caution under this first lap before taking the white flag, this race will end under yellow, and it's based off wherever iRacing deems you need to be finishing at the time of the yellow flag being thrown. And then if we take the white flag, it is back to what I said. It is gloves out. And it is going to be a fight to see who can cross the line first as everyone gets prepared. Lights are still on, so we're still going to pace for another lap here. But, Richard, I mean, looking at the field, is there anyone that you feel like is a shock or surprise? Or do you feel like this is pretty much where you expected most of these guys to be at the end of this race?
I think for the most part, it's about where I expected everyone to be. But I've got 2 names I want to call out real fast. Pete Tart in 8th position. That is a fantastic run for that driver, who also has not had a superb start to this season, but also the driver that disconnected 40 laps into this race was 5 laps down and is now back on the lead lap. Samuel S. Garcia up to 12th position, just outside the top 10. His dream could come true tonight after being 5 laps down.
Yeah, I mean, 5 laps down. He watched all the competition wreck out, and he just continued to keep himself out there. Was 5 laps down when we were around lap 35. and he has just continued to stay out there on track. Lights should be turned off. This is going to give us the 1 to go indicator. You touched on Pete Tart, how bad of a start he's had. Pretty similar to Nico Garcia. His best finish was at Atlanta, finished 28th. Since then, Rockingham, 37th. Last week at Dover, 41st. It has been a rough start for that 40 machine, but tonight, changing his fate, changing his hopes, and having a chance to reset his season with a good finish here tonight. Looking at the drivers up front, it's the teammates still. They're going to be in the top 3, expecting a pretty similar restart that we've seen with John Forbes, Vincent Sora. They'll stay side by side. Now, last restart, it was a slip up by Sora that gave an opportunity for Forbes to pull away before that caution flag came out. Sora needs a clean run off the exit of this corner. Keep it close. Have a chance. Yeah, this is our 3rd and final restart of the night. If we get a caution under this first lap, this race is over under yellow. If we take the white flag, this race is going to be on whoever crosses the line first. It has been a pleasure to give you the call. It's been a long night, a lot of cautions, a lot of wrecks, but ultimately, it's been some fun racing to watch up front. It's time to see who will win race number 4 for season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Last restart. Hopefully you're ready. It's the Cody, Glenn Cox, Beer Talkin 150. Here we go. It's John Forbes, Jared Talmadge, and Drew Jua pushing that inside lane. Go forward.
A huge launch for that inside lane, and that shoves Drew Jua almost up to 3rd position. Gavin Rogers is going to drop down to that inside lane now, just in front of Shane Terry, and he is starting to drop a little bit, but John Forbes control of this lead, but his teammate Jared Talmadge almost looked to the inside. We might be able to get to the white flag as they're coming out of turn 4. That is what John Forbes is hoping to see, as a yellow to finish his race, but a white flag. The drivers behind him still have a chance to win this as they're crashing on the front stretch, but we've already taken the white flag.
They're wrecking behind. That's Cody Reed. That's Christopher Wade. That's Zach Hall, all going to be caught up in trouble. But it's John Forbes up front. Can he keep this position? Does Jared Talmadge have any type of speed? Will Vincent Sora help him? They're not. They're blocking further behind. John Forbes, he was last season's champion. You thought that maybe there was going to be a championship curse on the one. Strip that away. Make him a multi-time winner. Forbes wins here at Texas as they crash coming across the line. Further back behind.
Massive win for Forbes. Back-to-back wins for the #1 defending champion. Gavin Rogers able to take advantage of Drew Jua getting up into the wall. He's going to finish 4th. A great run for the 3 teammates of Forbes, Sora, and Talmadge, taking 1, 2, 3.
As drivers coming up, giving the big tap. Teammate of Nightmare Fuel is that 31 of Thomas Green. Vincent Sora going to give the bump. That is a 1, 2, 3 finish for Nightmare Fuel. Gavin Rogers will fall to 4th. Brian Noel moves up to 5th. Pete Tart almost got a top 5. He'll finish in 6th. Shane Terry in 7th, 8th. Drew Joel, he'll fall down. But Samuel Garcia, where did he come from? From 5 laps down to a top 10. Congratulations, that 50 machine, but ultimate congratulations to the #1 gridless graphics machine of John Forbes Jr. 2-time winner. Enjoy it. Get to burn it down. For us up at the booth, though, we will step aside when we come back. It's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver on their thoughts on here tonight. What a race. It was a long one, but we'll be back after this with more coverage. Again, the post-race show in a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the fourth race of the season, your WSSR VRS Cup Series, the Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150. Remember, if you want to go listen to some new music, go check out Cody Glenn Cox's new song, Beer Talks, on all music platforms. As we head to victory lane to talk to the one machine, we saw the pole position streak be broken, and John Forbes said, why not? I'll break the win streak as well of having different winners and pole sitters. John, victory lane calls for you. You had a couple of overtime attempt restarts. You have to defend over your teammates. You do so perfectly. How are you feeling after this performance here tonight?
It's awesome to get two in a row. Kind of the same as what happened last week that put me up at the front. I really blew qualifying, had a pretty decent lap going, and then out of four, when the banking went away, I got loose and just barely tapped the wall, and it disqualified my fast lap. So they really sucked, put me in the back, and me and Pete Tart, we were making our way up through the field, and there was only a few laps to go for the stage, and I was almost about to get stage points, but then a couple of guys got loose in front of me, and they ended up like chasing it down the track as I tried to go to the bottom of them, and I got some damage from that. So made me come down pit road, and there was only about 5 laps before the stage, so I just put tires on it and rolled around like 10%, like 100 miles an hour until the stage caution came out, and then I just stayed out, and that really put me in position to stay up front all night. So it was really nice how that worked out again, nice and convenient, but it was really fun tonight just driving through the field. I was looking forward to just keep marching all night, but I mean, you can never, it never hurts to be lucky, so it's cool to get up to the front, and then from there, I really didn't know what to expect, so I went really hard, and then Gavin Rogers also, he was kind of on that harder running strategy, so he got by me after a few laps, and then my tires were pretty shot, and then here came Vinny. He was kind of taking the conservative approach, just running the same speed all night, kind of a slower pace than us, but after about 15 laps, he was the fastest car on the racetrack, just no doubt about it. So unfortunately for him, it didn't go that way all night, and I was kind of just running. After that first run, when I ran my tires, I just kind of ran a moderate pace. I didn't want to use up my stuff too much. I wanted to have something to work with. So I would just kind of let Vinny by me. I wouldn't fight him too hard, and just kind of sit behind him. And he had a great line figured out, just kind of slowing down the center. So I was trying to follow him the best I could. And then we got that caution kind of near the end, and it was that time where you got to put 2 tires on these things. So us as a team, we decided to put 2 on it, and I had just had a fantastic pit stop. I got to thank my AI pit crew. We were able to get Vinny on that pit cycle, and that's kind of just what put us in position. We drove through the guys that stayed out on no tires, and from there it was just wrecking, and it was practice after practice after practice on the restarts, and Vinny was really close on a few of them, and then on that last one I got a great restart, and Jared got a great start as well, so put them side by side. And from there, I just had to sail it home and not do anything too risky.
Well, John, a fantastic race tonight. Back-to-back wins, Dover to Texas. I mean, you've had a phenomenal start to this season, carrying that #1 on your car, breaking the curse is what it seems like. But this should undoubtedly put you in the lead in points. Is this the start you were looking forward to for this season?
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to break that curse. I mean, Zach was telling me like, "Oh, be careful at taking that one number. It's got some behind it." So I just hop in there every week, just not really thinking about that, and just honestly just trying to make the best decisions I can about what I think would be smart. Like some of the other leagues that have a little bit more wiggle room, sometimes more green, sometimes more caution-filled racing, I like to make a little bit of a more risky call. Where here, I mean, it's kind of clear cut most times, but I like just picking the one that's going to put me up front the most I can. So that's kind of what I think about like during these races. And obviously I need to start qualifying better. I had an EOL last week that really sucked, but just need to get back in that swing of things, just starting up front like I did at the beginning of the season. But besides that, the strategy and the cautions, they've been working my way. I mean, I haven't had the fastest car every week, but I'm making the best of it, especially tonight.
I mean, John, yourself and Vinny, it feels like we're talking to you guys every week. But what is it about this vehicle that you feel like, or just racing in general, it just seems like you've really elevated yourself as an iRacing driver this whole entire year, in both ISRC and in WSSR? What do you feel like, and what do you attribute that racing game better to? Because it has just been incredible to watch you go from something that we expect to be in the top 10 to someone we're expected to win each race we go to.
Yeah, it's really just a balance. I mean, I wouldn't even say I run this car that often compared to like the truck and some of the other ones I run like on a weekly basis. But it's just like I said, it's kind of a give and take. Like a year ago, I was probably I wasn't aggressive enough. I wasn't getting the most out of the car, and I still was kind of new to driving the next gen. So I was just trying to figure it out every week. So now I'm at the point where I kind of have the car figured out. Like I have a good balance on it. The main thing for me is just not overdriving it, and that was something I was doing in the past. And then again, just the way I manage the races and just try to get through everybody and pick the right moves. I've been a little bit more aggressive with that recently, and at times I'm overstepping and causing things that I shouldn't. But I've kind of backed it down a little bit, just gotten to that sweet spot where I'm picking the moves that I feel are really going to work out, and I'm kind of backing out on some of them that might get me in a bad spot, like throwing it 3 wide in a certain situation. And I kind of practiced that a lot at the beginning of this race. There were all kinds of moves that I could have made, like to the bottom in 1 or the bottom of 3. And I'm like, oh, it's just not worth it. It's too early in the race. I'm just going to sit behind the guy on the outside, and it would end up like the guy on the inside would make a mistake, and I would get by both of them when they single file out. So just kind of being smart. And I think that's just going to continue getting me wins and great finishes in the future, and throughout this league too. But I am like, honestly, I don't really enjoy racing this car. So I'm really hoping like just people have advantage on me, and like I said, I'm just trying to be smart, picking and choosing my battles and stuff, being really good on pit roads, what got me the win tonight. But I haven't had like the dominant speed, I don't feel like, at every track like I do like more in the truck series and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to the changes they're going to make to this car, and it might put everybody more on a level playing ground, because Vinny has a few more years than I do of running this car, like leagues and stuff in the WSSR. He has championships from a while ago, so he's really had a grasp on this thing, and I'm trying to just kind of follow what he's doing, like I had said tonight, just following his line, and it kind of helped me figure it out a little bit better. But he definitely had an advantage still if we had any green flag running. So yeah, just looking forward to the car update coming out, and I really hope it drives it just a little bit better. So I don't really know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to just learning something new, and like I said, everybody getting on a level playing field for the rest of the season.
I know we're excited too, as that update should be coming in here very shortly. As we got the week 13 update in 2 weeks. John, again, congratulations on this win. It was impressive to watch. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I just got to thank all the teammates at Nightmare Fuel, and Pete Tari had a great run tonight. Yeah, a bunch of us fixed like minutes of damage. I think Tom had like 11, 12 minutes of damage fixed over the course of this race, and he still finished P12. And then Vincent, me, Jarrett, we all finished top 3 tonight, so that's gonna be awesome for team points, and just it was super cool to be running with them all night. And then Pete, he's pretty new. He's really just running this car to get some experience, kind of like I was last season. He's off to a great start. I mean, he's been grinding on iRacing recently, and he's been doing super good. So it was awesome to see him actually get a result tonight. He's been running good, and then something at the end happened, and he was another one that fixed a ton of damage tonight and came home with a great finish. So gotta thank all those guys. It's they're super fun coming to race with them every week. And I gotta thank my brother Gridless Graphics for putting together this awesome scheme. This is definitely the primary for the season. I just love this kind of Kyle Busch NOS kind of throwback look to it. But I gotta thank you guys for the broadcast, JA Performance for being on board. You guys have a great night.
Well, that will be the #1 machine of John Forbes taking the victory, a second one of the season. Enjoy it, John. And you talked about wanting to learn something new. Good luck learning Portland next week, as that will be our next race. We had 2.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
As that will be your victor here tonight for the Cody Glenn Cox Beer Talkin 150. As we go down to second place, get to talk to his teammate and driver that I don't know if he likes this position, is getting used to finishing in second behind John. We got Vincent Soar with us. Vinny, I know speed is there for you. Maybe just not the timing of those restarts worked out in your favor, but how are you feeling coming away second here tonight?
I'm hot right now. I'm as mad as I've been in a while. Just really fed up and annoyed with the same old thing here. I'm an admin over here now, so I'm gonna bite my tongue here a little bit, but man, 17 yellows tonight. Just really disappointing. I love this racetrack. I have it circled every year whenever we come here, because when we get long green runs over here in the next gen, it's like the 1.5 miles where it's actually enjoyable because the back end of the car will step out and it really turns into a driver's track. And I was by far the fastest car all night. And I think even the guy who won would agree. And wow, I mean, I just got screwed over literally every time. It was like a joke. I mean, every time I would like be making the move for the lead, or I'd get a perfect restart. I mean, I had 2 perfect restarts there, except for the very last one. And I was on John's door, and then they immediately wrecked. And it's like, I mean, that was the move for the win. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just had killer long run speed, and only a second place to show for it, and a second place to the same exact guy. I love John, but man, I'm getting really sick of having, I feel like, better speed than him, and then just somehow he gets ahead of me. Tonight, he just had a quicker pit stop than me. I had like a 9-second two-tire stop, and he jumped me. And it's always something like that, and he'll get ahead of me, and then we get these short runs, and you just can't do anything. Obviously, again, he's just racing his race, and I love him to death, but it's just, I'm so sick of finishing second like this every week, it seems like.
Yeah, it was a very long night of cautions, Vincent, but I mean, the racing, when you guys were green and you guys were side by side, the racing was fantastic to watch up front. But I mean, you guys take home 1, 2, 3 this week, along with, you know, backing it up of 1-2 last week at Dover. I mean, you're having a great start to this season. I mean, how are you looking forward to the rest of the season after this fantastic start?
I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of the season, and yeah, there are a lot of positives to take away out of a frustrating couple of last 2 weeks. Finish-wise, like you said, we've had some great team points, and I think all of us right now are some of the top dogs in the league. And yeah, there's some fun tracks coming up on the schedule. I just hope that we can figure it out here. Seems like kind of towards the mid to back half of the field, just maybe some over-aggressive driving and wrecking when we don't need to be. Yeah, definitely got Portland circled. Gavin will probably be lights out there, as he always is on the road courses, but then Darlington, Vegas, and Bristol. Should have a lot of speed there. I have in the past, but again, just kind of some late race stuff that haven't really gotten to get the win like I wanted to. But this time I think I need to change my style and maybe get some positions more aggressively, and hopefully I'll get some wins that I feel like I've deserved all these other weeks.
I mean, Vinny, we were talking to John before, and he was talking about how he's excited for the new update that should be coming out for these cars, for the tires on iRacing. How much of that update have you looked into, and are you excited about the new changes that might be happening right in the middle of the season here just in 2 weeks?
I actually haven't read anything about it, and I didn't even know that it was happening until last Friday in the admin meeting. I don't know, I just hope that there's like a way that we can get more separated and have longer green flag runs, and the air wake to the car behind isn't as severe, because these short runs, whenever we wreck like this, it's just really unenjoyable to not be able to do anything because of the clean air of the guy ahead of you. Because like on that run right before the green white checkers, I was driving my heart out, and John was making mistakes, and it's like I still can't even catch him. Just super frustrating. So yeah, hopefully we get some distance created in these cars. Hopefully it drives more on the right rear, and we can get them stepping out like they were tonight, and maybe just something that'll change all the wrecks in the back.
Hoping for that as well. Vinny, congratulations on this run. Congratulations on getting to Victory Lane this past Monday, and we hope for better luck to continue moving forward on Wednesdays and Mondays.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too, as we find ourselves going down to second place to go talk to Jared Talmadge. It has been a wild night of seeing the drivers coming up and down, but call it a 1, 2, 3. And here's the third driver in line. It's Jared Talmadge coming away third here tonight. Jared, you got a fantastic launch. Almost looked like second was in your grasp, but you'll come away third here tonight. How are you feeling after your run here this evening?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest, because it wasn't really looking too good there with about 48 to go. We were sitting P34 and not looking pretty good, and then got a couple spots made up, got a yellow, took 2, and we started 12th in that restart, and just kind of made up spots with people messing up, racing other people, and got up to third, like you said. Then we got a good restart, got second, and I still had a little bit of damage that I wasn't able to repair, and it did not drive very well through 3 and 4, so I knew my shot at the win was kind of gone there. But I mean, to get a P3 out of how that race was looking about 40 laps earlier is pretty damn good.
Yeah, fantastic run for you and your teammates. Nightmare Fuel 1, 2, 3 tonight, as we just got done telling Vincent Sora as well. I mean, I'm not used to seeing your name up here. Last season didn't see it much, but this season it seems like you've really stepped up your game. I mean, how are you feeling about making a run and potentially going for that championship this year?
Yeah, it's good. Hopefully we can. Towards the back end of last season, we kind of had some good runs up towards the front. This season we've been a lot better. After the first two races were not so good, but it really helps when you got two people like John and Vinny, you know, the best in the series, in your ear, giving you information and helping you. The championship would be hard to fight for. Like I said, there's a lot of good people in this series, but you know, anything can happen, and we just keep improving, and we could be there at the end.
I mean, Jared, you're talking about having the best in your ear. You guys are also challenging one another on Monday nights. How much is that back and forth of running a truck series on Mondays and the Cup series on Wednesdays influencing one another? Because you guys are always on top on both nights that we run.
Yeah, I think it keeps the best out of all of us when we're duking it out, and you know, like you said, Monday night and this series. I think it just keeps us on our toes and just learning new stuff, racing each other. You know, maybe a week John knows something and we kind of figure it out, and so everybody improves. It just keeps everybody on their toes and helps everybody improve as a team.
Well, Jared, it was a pleasure to watch you climb through this field, even with collecting some of that damage and fighting for third. Before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out teammates, everybody at Nightmare Fuel. Tom had a pretty good recovery. He had a lot of damage to repair it. He ended up 12th, so that was good. Pete, who hangs out in the VC, he ended up P6. It was a really good result for him. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, everybody who runs the league. Shout out to Gridless Graphics for the paint. We threw on the secondary paint and we started running good, so I think we're going to leave it on the rest of the season. But yeah, that's about it.
Well, it's not a bad paint to show. Jared, congratulations on your run here tonight. Enjoy this third place finish and good luck next week at Portland.
Thank you.
As we move down from third, we go down to the fourth member of that group that went up and down and all around and came away with a career day, finishing sixth this evening. A lot better than 24th, I would say. Pete, how are you feeling after your run here this evening and coming away with a top 10 finish?
Pretty decent, actually. I didn't expect qualifying 19th to pull out a top 10, especially after the first three races of the season.
Yeah, dude, it's a fantastic run for you tonight, Pete. I mean, you had a really rough start to the season, finishing sixth. I mean, was there a point in the race where you were not even thinking you'd be in a top 10 contention near the end?
Yeah, I think that first wreck where I think I had like 4 minutes of damage. I didn't really think it was possible. I was kind of just running at the back, trying to get all my damage done without going a lap down, and I don't really know how we came back from it, but we did.
It certainly was impressive, Pete, to see. This is your rookie season. It's a pleasure to get to talk to you with this career day. Do you feel like there's more to be grabbed throughout this season? And what tracks are out there that you're circling up and saying, I can't wait to run there?
Yeah, I think we haven't really showed what we can do this with the first couple races of the season. But I think Kansas, I'm pretty strong at Kansas. So I'm really looking forward to that track.
That certainly is going to be a fun one to watch as that's later on in the season. Pete, it was awesome to see you climb through the field and come away with the top 10 run. Before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
I'd like to shout out John for giving me pointers throughout the race and helping me like being their calls and stuff, since he's the one that brought me into WSSR.
Well, Pete, we hope to talk to you more throughout the season. Congratulations on the sixth place run and good luck next week at Portland.
Thank you.
As that will finish up our interviews here tonight. Got to talk to those guys from Nightmare Fuel. And like I said, a lot of pointers going all around with one another. And it certainly helped out some to survive. Others, they can't wait to get out of here. Texas was a tough one. As we take a look at our unofficial results, as you heard, 17 cautions. It was a long night for the drivers, a long night for us. But it was seeing John Forbes, Vincent Sora still 1-2, having their teammate of Jarrett Talmadge join them in third. Gavin Rogers, I know he was irritated, another fast vehicle, but yet no win at the Oval. Ryan Noel, he went through the grass. He had a couple of spins and spills, and he recovers for a 5th place run. Pete Tart gets his first top 10 of the season in his career, first top 10 of the WSSR. Shane Tarian also fell, but comes by with a 7th place finish. Drew Jua went from, I thought top 5 was my calling, to 8th place at the end. And then the man of the hour, Samuel Garcia. Update, he was 6 laps down and came away for a top 10 finish. What a run for that 50 machine. Ken Campbell also comes away with a great top 10 finish.
Yeah, fantastic run for Samuel Garcia of 9th place. He can't be mad about that run by any means. I mean, Brian McCann, who started up there on pole, finishing 13th, so he was able to recover after some mishaps with him. And same for Colby DiCarlo. He was having struggles all night in the number 22 machine. He finishes 14th tonight, so great run for him. A few drivers back in the field you'd expect to see a little higher up. Larry Yingling finishing back in the 21st position, usually up there running the top 10, top 5 East also. And Nico Garcia was having a run of the season for himself, running up in the top 10. And just one of those last wrecks, he got involved with some major damage and just could not recover, finishing back in the 31st position.
Yeah, it just got worse and worse for that machine. Zach Hall, Cody Reed, also they were up front at one moment. They fall down quickly. Justin Malarkey had a rough night. Norris was even up inside of the top 15, fighting for a top 10 run. Same for Ryan Kelly, Ross Tatum. I mean, it's just a list of what-ifs for a lot of these drivers. And those that didn't even take the green, that'll be Bladen Edwards, Steven Stimpian, and Ryan Ferraro that did not take the green at all here tonight. Only 41 did. Also, another driver I want to give a shout out to, having a better night than they've had before. That's going to be Joshua Corner, coming away with 16th, his best finish so far for that 2 machine for himself. Oh man, it was a long night for us. I know we're coming up and calling it quits here shortly, but we got plenty of more racing action to give for you on Monday nights. If you want to see more great racing action, we are coming to the end of a championship run. It is the top 3 you saw here tonight. Well, they're the top 3 racing for a championship for the truck series of the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series as they head to their 4th race of the chase. Out of 5 races in the chase, only 2 races left. They're heading to Rockingham, where we've seen Vincent Sora win. We've seen John Forbes look quick, and how much speed is left in Jared Talmadge to defend those 2 that are hunting him down to take that Season 8 championship. You don't want to miss it. That'll be Monday night. We'll be back next week here for the WSSR as we head to the new track of Portland. I mean, Richard, I'm excited for it. New track for me to watch. For some drivers, they haven't even downloaded the track. They're going to get the setup tomorrow to test. There's a lot to be excited about next week.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really exciting. It's always exciting when iRacing brings out a new track and then everyone takes the cup cars to the new track. And in this case, NASCAR's been to Portland. We take the Xfinity Series there, which always ends up being a fantastic race to watch. But the Cup cars, this should be a very interesting race to watch for these guys. They've never touched this track. I mean, they might have downloaded it since its release, but bringing these cars with the setup they're going to receive, it's going to be a fantastic race to watch. And I think it's going to be a very even playing field. Even with the likes of Gavin Rogers in the field, nobody's really touched the track. So it should be a great race to watch next week.
Who can learn, who can get quick. It all starts tomorrow for a lot of these drivers when they're given the setup. But for tonight, it was a long one. A lot of wrecks had to use all 3 overtime attempts. But your winner for the Cody Glencock's Beer Talkin 150. It is the 1 machine of John Forbes Jr., last season's champion. First driver to get 2 wins so far in the first 4 races. Who can try to run him down? We'll have to find out. That's next week at Portland. But I want to say thank you to all the sponsors, as our title sponsor of the WSSR being the Virtual Racing School. Thank you so much to VRS for partnering up as the title sponsor. Also returning sponsors, GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, as well as new sponsors of Sim Precision Prints. And we want to say thank you to our camera providers here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Whiplash Simcams, which our biggest mover, our Whiplash Simcams biggest mover of the day, is that 1 machine of John Forbes, up 37 positions from where he started. Talked about how he wants to get that qualifying fix. He's got to work on it. Well, if you want to work on some new music, again, go check out Cody Glencock's new song, Beer Talkin', and plenty of other new songs he's planning on releasing throughout 2025. go check out Cody Glenn Cox is on .com for any new information on events, as well as check out all of his social media sites. Great music, former driver of the WSSR series back in the day. Go check out what Cody has been up to. But for us here tonight, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Richard Wolsifer, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. It was a pleasure to give you the call. Thank you to everyone that hung around and watched this and commented and liked. We cannot wait for the next one. Next week, Portland, first road course race. Is that when Gavin Rogers gets into victory lane? We'll have to find out. Or could someone else take him off the road course pedestal? Can't wait for it. And if you can't wait for more future races, we got you covered. Monday night, more chase racing action. The ISRC Truck Series has race 4 of the chase. Who's going to catch up to Talmadge, or can he extend the gap for a championship? You'll find out Monday night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.